Mahomes is basically God playing quarterback.
Chiefs Kingdom
Live.
Come on at it. What's hot? Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
And when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it.
It's Mahomes' house. And it is good. Woo! Arrowhead man.
The Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection.
You gotta fight for your right to party.
Woo! Let's go!
Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Tuesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm getting all the
got
audio
extra-
back again.
What's that? What'd you say, Nick?
Okay.
I'm getting all the audio back again. Is that just me?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Not
it
me.
is. Sorry, man.
Oh, okay. All right.
We got a good show. Nowhere to go from here after Nick decided to just go ahead and jack up the whole intro. Might have to switch shit Nick and cool Nick here. Got special guests tonight, John V and Nico from the Locker Room Rant. Going to join us for this Super Bowl 58 preview show. Chiefs Kingdom taking on Faithful to the Bay, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers from Las Vegas, Nevada this Sunday night.
Let's go.
It's going to be a blast. We're also streaming the show over on their channel. So if you're not giving those guys a follow and a sub, make sure you head over there and check them out and do that and click like and subscribe here for our channel. We're going to bring our guests on here in just a second. But before we get to that, Bo, how are you, man?
I'm good. Good to see you again, man. It's been a minute. Sorry I
Yeah.
wasn't here last week. There was pretty unreliable service in Mexico, believe it or not, but made it back safely. Got to see the game, actually. So that was interesting, watching the game when the Spanish broadcast, but that was fun. Got to watch the show about 3 or 4 days after you guys did it, but good stuff last week, guys. It was really entertaining. Good to see everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. We really appreciate it. Yeah, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing real well. I'm ready for this game. I enjoy the week off in between the Super Bowl and the championship games. It's kind of like, chill out a little bit and celebrate the championship wins there, and we get a little bit of break between the Super Bowl. But now I'm ready for the game. I'm ready for this weekend to get here. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing better now that I figured out I had a window open that was also playing the show. So I was hearing all the audio in like a 10-second delay, and I thought I was having a stroke.
All right.
But I got that resolved. So I'm good, man. How are you guys doing?
Well done. I remember my first stream.
Yeah, no, we're doing good. We're doing real well. So let's just bring our guests on. We got our man John V and our man Nick from the Locker Room Rant.
Hey-o.
Hey.
Fellas, how we
How's it
doing?
going?
Nick?
Not too bad. Apparently John's just an icon right now.
Right.
What's going on? So
Congratulations,
lovely,
boys.
Ryan.
Once again, the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. I always say this, like, when a team gets like a certain level of success, they're just my default favorite because they've won so much. Them winning one more time really doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't tarnish any legacies if you guys lose or something. So you guys might as just win till the Browns get in the Super Bowl.
Wow, you're in the minority with that opinion, though. That's
Yeah.
admirable.
It was like that with the Patriots. Remember when the Patriots had their dynasty?
Yep.
I desperately wanted them to lose the first time. And I kind of wanted them to lose the second time because we had the whole Belichick thing.
Oh, yeah.
Belichick kind of screwed things up, and then he left, and all of a sudden had crazy success. But after they won like 2, I was like, whatever. I don't want the Giants to win, so just let the Patriots win. I don't want the Steelers to win. I don't want any of these teams to win, so I'll just let the Patriots win.
Yeah,
That's how I am with the Chiefs.
I had a little bit different kind of view. I thought it was cool. They won the first one, and then I got kind of tired of them there for a while. But then by the time they came back around and started going to Super Bowls again, then I was kind of rooting for them. Like I was rooting for the Patriots to beat the Eagles in that one Super Bowl. So.
I was always rooting for the Patriots. I was living in Colorado at the time, so it was always the Brady Manning thing. When Manning went over to Denver, right? It was just like, yeah, let's go Patriots. Let's go.
What's going on, Laney?
Yeah, everybody's in the chat. They're happy to see Nick's here. We'll get John V. He's having some technical difficulties.
It's been a while since I've been on the cam here.
Yeah,
Kevin K in the chat. Hey man, you'll be good to know. I sent out your stuff finally this week, so you should be getting a gift here pretty soon for our giveaway show. Sorry it took so long. And Tom Hood, if you're in the chat as well, you got one coming as well. That one's I had to fill out like a custom slip and everything to send that out to Barbados, but hey, it's on its way.
Yeah, our man Tom down there in the Bahamas. So yeah, it's good to see Kevin and Shippy and John C. and I'm sure Big Doug. I think I saw him and Laney and Brenda. It looks like we got maybe some fans of John V's, some faithful to the Bay viewers here. I think I saw someone throwing up a "Let's Go Niners" comment here. So, this is a hybrid show here. Here we go, David, right there, David McNiner. So good to see you all. Not sure where John V went, if he's going to try and jump back in here. So
he'll be around.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys something. So is this season any different from any previous seasons in the last 5 years for you guys? Obviously the first one was probably really special, but was this year any different? Because I felt like a lot of people were down on the Chiefs. I was always the person to be like, listen, if the Chiefs get in the playoffs, they're got to be like among the top two favorites. I always thought the big ball.
So for me, it was. We kind of had some of that last year too. I know that we were the 1 seed last year, but we went into last year with everybody saying, "Oh, you guys aren't going to be anything without Tyreek Hill." So there's some of that doubt that was put in there. I know that the Chiefs, after they won, talking about being underdogs, kind of made people laugh a little bit, but. There was a lot of talk about it being a fake 1 seed because of what happened with the Bills and the Bengals, right? But yeah, this year was different. I mean, lots of doubt. I mean, the Dolphins were, this super offense, right? That was coming in, and I know it was a really cool game, but I mean, Tyreek Hill revenge game. Then going to Buffalo, being underdogs, going to the Ravens, being underdogs, being told, basically we had no chance by most of the people saying, you're going to get blown out, you're going to get embarrassed.
Who are they expecting to get blown out by?
The Ravens. There are a lot of people that said that we could easily lose 2 or 3 scores.
And the Bills.
I've always been. Here's the thing about this year to me. I don't think I honestly, in both divisions, especially in the NFC, but in all of football, I don't think there was a dominant team.
No.
Honestly, I felt like especially in the AFC, I felt like any of those teams that made the playoffs could have won it. I was never a huge fan of the Ravens, but the Ravens are a good team. You can't take it away from them, but I never thought they were a dominant team.
Yeah, no, I mean, you look at the Ravens, they lost to the Browns at home earlier in the season. They got taken to overtime at home against the Rams late in the season.
Yep.
You look at the 49ers, who were kind of them and the Eagles were the preseason favorites right here. And the 49ers, I want to say they had a stretch where they lost 2 or 3 games in a row there in the middle of the year. One of those was to the Browns too. The Eagles started hot, but they were winning close games and getting, I don't want to say fluky wins, but they nosedived towards the end of the year. So, yeah, I mean, this thing is wide. The Bills were sitting there at 6-6, and people were wondering if they were even going to make the playoffs. Then the Kadarius Toney foot offside saves them against the Chiefs and basically saves their season, and they make it in. So, yeah, to me, this season has been about the offense, especially early on, kind of struggling. and they had guys at wide receiver that they were trying to force the ball to and trying to force action to in Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney. And it just wasn't it. The defense has been solid all year for the Chiefs. So we've always been kind of like joking about Josh Allen making the playoffs all these years with the top 5 defense. And like, if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs ever have a top 5 defense to look at, you might go undefeated or shut the league down because it'll be over. When the offense was struggling, the defense was keeping us around. And my mindset all year was just figure something out on offense. Just get a little bit more than what you're getting. And the Chiefs are going to be dangerous again. And it was kind of addition by subtraction, getting Sky rejuvenated, looks reborn. They're getting more touches to Kelsey and Rice and Pacheco in the running game. So,
MVS too.
Yeah, MVS. I never counted the Chiefs out. You can go back through, and there were some times where I think I want to put a tweet out that said if the Chiefs just hadn't completely botched or had all the problems at wide receiver, they'd be cruising right now to another Super Bowl appearance. And people kind of took that as being down or doubting the Chiefs. I've felt good. Nick will tell you, every playoff game, I've had basically zero worry about winning the game. I was not worried at all about the Dolphins. I was not really that worried about the Bills. The Ravens felt pretty confident with the way the Chiefs defense played and the way they've played that team and the Ravens in the past. They kind of have the answer for Lamar Jackson. So yeah, I mean, I felt pretty good. Maybe not as confident in years past when the Chiefs had a better record, but I've always considered them the favorites in the AFC, kind of until proven otherwise, right?
So here's another thing that I know it's a big talkative story, but I don't think people break it down. Your guys' win percentage with Taylor Swift is
Oh God,
she's dynamic. Brings a whole new facet to your guys' team.
It's funny you say that. There was people that were saying that she was a jinx and a curse.
No.
They were losing
I
games there,
guarantee
and
you.
Taylor and
Those first couple games that you guys came, you guys won. Then she had to go, I think, for probably part of her tour or something.
right.
That's when you guys had your weak spot. And then she comes back, and all of a sudden you guys win. Now you're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, we stole Taylor Swift from what do they call the Eagles fan base there? Eagle Nation or something like that. Her dad and her being Eagles fans. We got Roy Boy in here saying "Go Niners." Thanks for joining the show, Roy. It's good to see you. Bo, how did you feel about this year and the Chiefs?
No, I mean, it's like Nick's original. Was it a different year for sure, right? Like we were, as Nick alluded to, just a lot of doubt from all the media heads, right? Everybody thought we were broken. The amount of drops we had surely didn't, do us any favors. We sure did have a lot, but I mean, we're kind of biased. We see the positive in most games, and we were seeing like, no, man, when they're not dropping the ball or kind of getting picked on by the refs. There was a good 3-week stint at the beginning of the year where our right tackle could not get off the line without a penalty to save his life. But when we saw that not happening, we're like, this team moves the ball, and it's the same dangerous team, and we're hearing the same narratives last year. Oh, this team's broken. Oh, what a yada yada. And we're just looking at the yards and like it's not all the stats, and it's just not lining up with the narratives. Mahomes stayed top 5. Most of the stats, right? He wasn't number 1. He wasn't like lighting it up, and maybe that was just a little bit different. But I mean, yeah, that was due to drops and penalties, which Scott alluded to. Once we cleaned that shit up, it was smooth sailing for us. And yeah, we never really lost hope. It wasn't really a different year, right? We were just kind of sitting back, just everybody can keep doubting us. They can keep doubting us. We know we have. Yeah, and you see it in the playoffs, man. Our playoff statistics are unreal. So. Oh, I thought
it would actually make more.
I'm going to go ahead and throw him on the stage. John B, can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready? All right.
So we got
Brenda, it would actually make more sense if they won by 22.
Right.
Yeah, right.
What's up?
Hey,
Yeah.
you made it.
Hey.
Welcome.
We got our the king of Ohio Niners fans is in the house, John V.
Cheers.
How are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm so pissed. I broke that camera. Yeah, I broke it. It's crushed. I mean, crushed, dude. Crushed. pieces.
Yes.
Man, I'm excited. I'm going to Vegas Saturday. I'm leaving Saturday.
Are you going to the game?
No, I'm going to a tailgate at the Link. Bunch of people.
Nice.
So
That'll
it
be
should a
fun.
good time.
I'm kind of jealous. It's one thing about going to a Super Bowl, but it's another thing about going to Super Bowl in Vegas.
Right.
I mean, I'm pumped. I'm crazy pumped. I actually can't believe we're actually going to the Super Bowl. Still, I don't even think it's sunk in yet.
Welcome back to that feeling, my friend. It's great to be here, right?
And we should have been here last year. Like that should have been the Niners, Kansas City. That Philadelphia and San Francisco. There's no match, man. There's no.
I mean, I don't know why you're surprised though. You guys were, even from the start of the season, you guys were definitely the favorite.
No, I mean, what's happening here, Nick, is, I mean, I understand that you don't understand because you don't know what it's like to win even a bagel. But at the end of the day, it's his second year. He's less than 2 full seasons, and he's in the Super Bowl. It's quite remarkable, actually. And a lot of the context that came out after draft is even better yet. Because Kyle Shanahan's on the record for telling, Jed York, like, I want to get this guy. And they're like, listen, like, we're not really good with you in the picks and quarterbacks. Like, you know, you just spent 3, like, and he's like, no, I really need to get this guy. And Kyle, like, he's the last pick in the draft right now. And he's trending towards the 7th round. And he's like, I had a 5th round grade on him. And it's just like, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
it's just going to bat for somebody that, the organization's kind of like, you're kind of reckless with the picks. So like, you haven't hit on your 3s and you haven't hit on a quarterback yet. So, it's good.
Right.
It's a good feeling.
I mean, you kind of go into the expecting Trey Lance to be battling it out, right, with Purdy, and he was the guy they traded up and picked super early. I mean, he was what pick was he? He was 2 or 3, right?
3.
Trey Lance was 3.
Yeah, he was the number one.
We moved up. We moved up from 11 or 12,
right?
To get him at 3.
Right. So you get him at 3rd overall, and he has the injury, right? He misses basically a year, but he's working with Patrick Mahomes in the off seasons, and he's the guy with the monster upside, and Brock Purdy is kind of the guy that's Mr. Irrelevant and all this other stuff, or whatever you want to call it. And they ship him off, and Purdy is the guy. And the 49ers, they come out of the gate hot, right? Looks like, oh, man, this is clear best team in the NFC, maybe in all of football. Then there's some kind of rough sailing in the middle of the season, and they lost 2 or 3 games in a row, but then they kind of get back on the winning streak there. I mean, what has this season been like for you? I know you said you can't believe you're in the Super Bowl. I mean, is this a really big surprise season for you, or did you kind of think maybe this was a possibility at all?
I mean, I'm never the guy that's going to say week 1, we're going to the Super Bowl, just because of what it takes to get here, the unknowns and everything in between, right? The ups and downs. And you guys, we can cover that in a little bit. You guys, that was a muddy season for you, and there's never doubt with Patrick behind, under center, there's never doubt. So for us, it was, going into the season, bro, I wasn't sure if I was even going to have a quarterback that could throw the ball right after having UCL operation. That procedure was quite significant, with the season, with a loaded roster ready to go on the horizon. You know what I mean? Like, where are we going to be right now? Like, it's not going to be Sam Darnold. Like, I can't put all of my eggs in this basket. So you take the off season little by little. You go into preseason. You start to see Trey Lance show, like he's not growing. He's not developing on pace. And you're starting to see this, and you're hearing, 3 quarterbacks, and Niner fans are fed up right now with the quarterback controversy. We're sick of it. And, it's Jimmy and it's Trey and it's Brock, and it's just like the conversations. And then, Brock pulls away with it, and, comes in third string quarterback, makes a late season push, wins 7 or 8 games, takes us into the divisional, wins it, go to the NFC Championship. Our dreams were shattered, right? In a game that I fully believed and that my team fully believed that they were going to win. And a lot of folks were sick and tired of hearing Debo and Ayuk bitch about it. But these guys thoroughly believed it in their bones that they had what it took to break this team. And so it took another season to do it. And they did it. And they beat the brakes off of them. And from that game, after San Francisco beat the brakes off Philly, they crumbled. They were never the same team. Their identity was muddy. They didn't know who they were. They couldn't establish dominance on both sides of the ball. Coaching is a big question because you don't even know what the hell is he doing right now. So, the Eagles started hot 10-1 and then just sunk and
hit that wall.
Oh my God. That's the worst way to go, bro.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get humbled, but it's another to just gas out and spiral.
Bro,
There was signs of trouble with them earlier too. Like they were winning a lot of really close games. The game against the Chiefs, NS drops the freaking game-winning touchdown basically at the end of the game. The Chiefs outgained them in yards, had more first downs and yards per play, won everything
shut down their
except
receivers.
the scoreboard. And that team, it kind of looked like they were leaking oil coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of the first part of the season, even though they had the glossy record, and then Jalen Hurts, I think, was dealing with an injury. I think you'll find out maybe more as the offseason unfolds and going into next year that he was hurt. Which, hey, when you're one of these, I don't want to say running first quarterbacks or whatever you want to call one of these dual threat guys, but once that goes away, that completely changes that offense and completely changes what they can do. So, Nick, what did you think of the 49ers this season? I know you kind of talked about what you thought about the Chiefs and your view of them in the regular season, but what did you think about the 49ers this year?
Well, the 49ers were my preseason pick to make the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I think the 49ers were the only, honestly, I think the NFC stunk. I think the 49ers are a very good team, but they were the only very good team in the NFC. And I didn't see any other team being able to beat them. I saw Philadelphia losing a lot of talent that they needed to make the Super Bowl last year, and they didn't replenish it at all.
Right.
So I didn't, and I'm not a big fan of Hurts. I'm just not. He's one of those guys, kind of like Lamar Jackson, just not as good as Lamar Jackson, that gets by on his legs and just tries to be adequate at passing the ball. And honestly, Lamar's way better with his legs than Hurts will ever be. So yeah, I mean, the Eagles didn't scare me. The Cowboys never scare me. Detroit, I thought Detroit actually played better than I thought they would this year. I definitely thought they were going to be a playoff team, but I didn't think they were going to be like the upper echelon of that division.
I think everybody thought that.
Yeah, which they were. So really, honestly, there were only two good teams coming out of the NFC at the end of the year, and it was Detroit and the 49ers. And I thought the 49ers were infinitely better than they were.
Yeah. The Lions, I thought the Rams kind of looked salty in the last, I don't know what, half quarter of the season. And Matthew Stafford was looking pretty good, and they had some weapons, and their defense had kind of come around. So they were a team that, I mean, I wasn't going to put money on them to make the Super Bowl, but I kind of thought they replaced the Eagles down the stretch for me.
I don't think so.
In that 3-horse race. They took the Ravens to overtime in Baltimore. They took the Rams right down to the wire in that playoff game. Questions about whether Stafford got a concussion maybe and hit his head in that game, and maybe if that doesn't happen, because he did not look as sharp. So, yeah, I mean, for me, looking at it this year, I thought the 49ers were the best team.
The only thing was that, like with the Rams and everything, I think people were getting momentum behind. People were like starting to think of them as a team with a lot of momentum because they were making a playoff push, but they weren't dominating. They weren't winning like every game. Like they were just in it. like kind of like the Bucks were. They were just in it, you know. And everyone thought the Bucks had a great season. They had an okay season. They made the playoffs,
Right.
but like they weren't great. They weren't one of the top 5, 6 teams in the league.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Rams were either. But yeah, it was the 49ers all the way. The fact that the 49ers, I will say this, they got fucking lucky this playoffs twice. I've talked to John about this. I don't think they necessarily played very well.
Poking the bear there, folks.
But that being said, they're there. They're there, and those 2 games don't mean anything because now they're in the Super Bowl. They just have to have one really good one.
Yeah.
They're capable.
I know what you're saying. 27 unanswered points isn't exactly lucky, though. That's pretty good.
No, it definitely is. Are you kidding me? You catch the most ridiculous 56-yard catch to set up when you're getting your ass. When you're getting your ass.
Actually, I forgot about that
You
play.
catch an absolutely ridiculous catch that sets
Pretty
you up for an easy touchdown, and then like on like the very next like play or two, the guy fumbles on the 20. You literally get 14 points in a matter of like a minute.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that game, I think if the coach is a little bit smarter and takes a couple field goals, if they don't have the fumble,
you would have won.
Yeah, I think so. I've been wanting to get John V's opinion on that championship game before we start breaking down this Super Bowl matchup. John, how nervous were you watching that championship game? I mean, what's your take? Did the Lions blow it, or did the 49ers kind of come back and take it?
I mean, look, dude, you play the game that's in front of you, right? If the opposing coach is an idiot, then I mean, you must capitalize on his mistakes. You not only do you put yourself in position on 4th and short, but you must make this. You need to turn over downs. You can't miss. Like you cannot miss. So,
Right.
in my opinion, like if you say we're lucky, like okay, then we're lucky. But I mean,
Better be lucky than good.
I mean, it is like, look, you play the game that's in front of you. So if they make mistakes, you capitalize on those mistakes. If they want to go on a 4th and short, turn it over on downs, get possession, score. We just did what we needed to do. So, I mean, ultimately, call it lucky. I mean, the Niners still have to force that fumble. Gibson still has to force that fumble. Not only does he have to force that fumble, we need to recover that fumble. Then we need to score points. And I said early, well, it was like probably 7 minutes in the 3rd quarter. And Scott, I'm saying to myself, to have a chance, if my Niners can go into the 4th quarter down a touchdown, we're going to be all right. We'll have the 4th quarter, you know, because we couldn't stop the run in the first 2 quarters. But then, you know, halftime, and I don't know what happens, but you come back out the second half of the game, and not only are you more disciplined in your gap schemes and everything else, but you're actually stopping the run, and you're doing it convincingly. You're looking like the Niners defense that everyone remembered, right? So, but it just came together, and that's the part that bothers me as a fan, is that you've got almost $100 million on a defensive line, and these guys are casually passing the buck. Like, if I don't get him, the next guy will. That mentality is, you've got so much talent that you're not pressed on your blocks or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, the Niners were just missing, and it took a captain or a coach or all of the above to get this team and pull it together and be like, look, folks, whatever we're doing out here, it's not working. Like, we look back, like I was embarrassed. Like, this isn't right.
Yeah, they were looking bad.
And the Green Bay game, we came out stale, and you know, but playoff ball is not supposed to be. It can be beautiful, but it's going to be sloppy because the best of the best are here, and playoff ball is just get out of this game healthy and with a W. And the Niners managed to do both in both the divisional and the conference and the conference championship. So
that's a bigger win for you guys, staying healthy.
Yeah, for real. Dude, Bo, say it again,
mean,
bro. Like, that's been, I mean, with the exception, we lost Hufanga early. And again, he hurts in the run game. Like, that's that's a Pro Bowler right there all on his own. You know,
You gotta. Hufanga's not all that important in the grand scheme of things.
right?
I mean, he's a
just
pretty
all
good
pro.
player.
You're right.
He's okay. I've never been a big fan of his.
He's pretty
I've
good,
never been a
man.
big fan of his.
I dubbed him
Listen,
Motherfunga because he's there. He gets
Yeah.
in the way.
you watch this show, you will know that I said Hufanga is a little overrated.
I mean, I agree with that a little bit. I think
And
people
how-
talk
and-
about him like he's
And
like
how
the
much
best
have they
safety in the
lost
league.
since Hufanga's been gone? Hufanga hasn't made a damn bit
we're
of
not. I mean, we're not. We have Logan Ryan back there missing blocks. He did an arm bar tackle, and he
Yeah.
ended up not tackling the guy, giving up like 50 some yards, and then he actually threw himself into his own teammate, and he just spiraled a big collision. Like it was humiliating. Like
And you guys
no,
don't
Nick,
shoot.
like Hufanga makes that tackle. His angles are pure.
I've seen
You just
Hufanga
don't
get-
respect. You just
I've
don't
seen
respect
Hufanga
players
get-
labeled.
I do
all
have to
pro.
throw this out there for anybody who's just watching or catching up right now. Nick, the bottom Nick here, is a Browns fan, and so he's kind of not used to being like a Ferrari owner complaining about like the Ferrari making a weird noise, right? He's like, "What are you talking about? You don't need that part for your car, right?"
What are you talking about?
I need every single part.
I just got a brand new car this year. It was like a Honda Civic, and I loved it.
Right. No, look.
Yeah, go into your engine, just
drove
take a
that
part
car
out,
around
just take
like it was
any
like,
part
oh, yeah,
out,
got
and
that.
see
Was
how
it
it
the
goes.
Joe Flacco edition Honda Civic?
Right. Right. John V made a great point in the playoffs. It's survive and advance. And look, the Lions left the door open, but you still got to go through it. I mean, they dropped passes and they fumbled, but I mean, the 49ers took advantage of the mistakes. How many games do you watch where teams make mistakes and the other team doesn't take advantage of it? So, look, I'm not going to say the 49ers got lucky.
I mean, I give
Listen,
credit to
they
Dan
got
Campbell
lucky.
because he stuck to what he did the entire season. He didn't even change it up in the conference championship game. You haven't been here in ever, and you are making decisions that like you're not taking the field goal.
Yeah.
Why?
I
Why?
don't.
Listen,
You know-
But he didn't do it all season. Like he was careless. Like that's careless. Like I don't
Right.
care how much success they've had because of it. Like you did it in a game that was one and done. Like you don't do that.
I saw that,
And I think
Kevin.
he gets it. I think he gets it.
two things can be true at the same time. The 49ers did get lucky, and the 49ers are a team that you don't allow to have an opportunity like that. That's the whole
You have
thing.
to
The
kill them until they're
49ers,
good, right?
you fuck up against the 49ers, they will make you pay. Like,
Yeah, they
don't
definitely
let them
can.
have that option. But Dan Campbell underestimated that for some reason. I don't know how he does that. And he gave the 49ers a chance, and they blew the doors off that chance. So,
Well, I mean,
the 49ers
absolutely. We want to go to the Super Bowl, bro. And
Yeah.
I don't know what we were doing first half. So, like, you know, all that we're hungry at half. You know, we came out a different team. I was deflated, dude. I was down 17 points in a conference championship, and we came back and won that game. Like, I'm not used to my team coming from behind. You
Yeah,
understand
I
what
was
I'm
just about to
saying?
say that. That's a rarity,
know,
right?
Right? Like
Right,
we
that-
usually the Niners are, if we score 20 points on you, we're 20-0. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. They're used to front running, no doubt about that. I mean, they like to play from in front. I don't know if Lainey would mind me sharing a private message that she sent during the championship game, the NFC game, but she sent me a message that said, John V is going to be going to Best Buy after this game to get some good
At halftime.
We're down by 17 points. But, yeah, look,
holy smokes.
I think Dan Campbell, and you saw it in that game against the Cowboys, he lets his emotions get the better of him in big moments, and he's like one of these guys. He's emboldened. You hit on 19 and you get 21 once or twice. Doesn't mean it's like a smart thing to keep doing, right? And I mean,
great
you go
point.
back to that Cowboys game. He cost his team the 2 seed because he goes for 2. They get it. And then they say that the guy didn't report, and so they move it back to the 7, and he's going to be damned if he don't go for it and get those 2 points. And, like, he let the emotions get better of him, and they ended up losing that game and losing the 2 seed. And it didn't really end up costing them because they would have had to play on the road at the 49ers anyway. But you kind of saw signs, and Nick and I talked about this, right, Nick? I mean, he made some gambles later in the year, and they paid off that kind of like led him to let the it kind of like rewarded some bad decisions, and he continued to make them. Nick, I mean, what did you think about that Lions 49ers championship game?
Which Nick?
You.
Me. Yeah, look, it kind of had some shades of that comeback where the Texans went up on the Chiefs 24-0. Scott and I were at that game. I do want to say that, yeah, one team collapsed, but you don't come back from 3+ scores unless the other team collapses. You still have to do it. But yeah, it was like very similar. I mean, there was a fake punt. There was a dumb call, right? In that Chiefs game, there was a turnover on a kickoff, punch the ball out. And then all of a sudden the lead evaporates and the other team is winning by multiple scores. And it's like, oh man, the game's over. But I walked away from that game just thinking, like, there's a definite difference between being aggressive and being confident and being stupid. And Dan Campbell was just stupid in that game. Like, not taking the field goals, like to go back up 17 points, and then not taking the field goal, like when you could tie the game and then you're down 2 scores now. And then you get back in a position to score. You've got all your timeouts and you run the ball at the goal line, dude. Like, so you have to burn a timeout. So that basically means that now you're screwed and you have to get an onside kick, which nobody gets anymore. They should do something else for onside kicks because they've totally destroyed the rule to where it's just like not even a viable play really anymore. But yeah, I walked away from that like thinking kudos. Brock Purdy made some really good runs in that on that last drive to go do it. But yeah, I just walked away from that thinking, man, this guy, like, he's making the same fucking mistakes that Staley's made with the Chargers that got him fired. I mean, just snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. That's really kind of my takeaway.
When I was watching that game, Scott, I had to. I don't think I sent the text to you, but I was wondering your opinion. Do you still think coaches affect the game only 25% and players 75% after watching that game?
Yeah, I mean, it maybe in like one game or a quarter, it's a little bit more than that. But I mean, overall, yeah, I mean, it's 75% players, 25% coaching. I mean, show me a Hall of Fame coach that didn't have Hall of Fame players, right? Before we get, I want to break the Super Bowl down, but I know, Locker Room Rant, Nick down there on the bottom, he kind of talked about what he thought about the AFC Championship game ahead of time. But you guys, I mean, just maybe a minute or two here. I mean, did you think the Chiefs? Did both of you guys think the Chiefs were going to beat the Ravens? Did you think the Ravens were going to win? I mean, was that game a surprise to you? What did you think, Nick?
I thought the Chiefs were going to win. Listen, whenever I talk about Lamar Jackson, I always say the guy is a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's going to get you success. But if you can, unless he's on, and he's not always on, and he's not even always, and he's not even on the majority of the time. He always has his legs. Sometimes he'll drop dimes on you, but that happens like once every 4 games.
Right.
Okay. There are games where he's wildly erratic passing. And even to this point, even in his where we're going, 5th year, even to this point, he's still wildly erratic passing it sometimes. And I thought that the Kansas City Chiefs had a good enough defense to slow him down, and also had a good enough offense to overpower him. Yeah. And I just generally thought with their pedigree that they would beat them. And I was right. That game broke down exactly how I thought it would. If I could literally have written the script for that game, that's exactly how I would write that game to go down.
Right. And if the referees don't take away a touchdown from the Chiefs on an iffy holding call, and the Chiefs, I mean, I'm not going to say Andy Reid had a Dan Campbell moment, but they passed up on a field goal early in that game to go forward on 4th and 1 that they didn't get. I mean, that easily could have been a 3-score win and the Chiefs up big. So, John, what did you think? I mean, did you think the Chiefs were going to win that game? Did you think the Ravens were going to win? I mean, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was going to be a 50-50 game. I really did not know who was going to win this game. I mean, obviously the Ravens had the defense. You have a great defense. But I mean, it was more about Lamar, and Lamar wasn't Lamar in this game. Essentially kind of making them, he wasn't moving enough. He only ran the ball how many times? 8 times? Less? Right. So I mean, that's not Lamar-esque. And like Nick said, if he's not on, and I don't even know if it's I don't know like who you blame in that scenario. Like the offensive coordinator right now, like, are you not using Lamar properly right now? Do you not like what you see? Are the Chiefs taking it away from them? Like the lanes that the Buffalo's offensive line were giving Allen were impressive.
Yeah.
Those lanes were impressive. He just wasn't fast enough. His acceleration is not fast enough to get, whereas you get Lamar in those lanes, his acceleration, he's gone.
Hurting you. Yep.
I just think that either he gets soft. I think he gets soft. I think the moment gets too big for Lamar.
Yeah.
I do believe that like he did not feel like taking off and running. And I'm wondering like, why aren't you doing this? The Chiefs took that away from him. Quite literally made him one-dimensional.
They didn't even try to run with the running backs all that much in that game either. The Ravens, it was almost to me like they wanted to go out and show the world that Lamar could go out and out-duel Patrick Mahomes and air it out, and he's just not going to do that. I'm sorry.
Why? I mean, why? What?
Not going to happen.
What do you stand to gain? Why would you even do such a thing?
Yeah.
Like, why just going back to like, when we were talking about Dan Campbell in a group chat with my buddies, my Niner buddies, I'm over here when he's making these decisions in a game that really didn't count for him. I'm making the joke like, I hope we get this version of Dan Campbell, in the conference championship, right? And like, did I really dream that I would actually get that version of Dan Campbell? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you were exactly who you've been.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate it, but I mean, it goes to say that like the Ravens are the opposite. Like they were dominating the AFC and they dominated the NFC. The AFC North beat the brakes off of the NFC.
Yeah.
They just did. And I'm trying to understand how you're going to come into this matchup right now and you're not going to use Lamar the way that you've used him this entire season. What are we talking about here? What are we doing? Like OBJ was on the bench and he's saying, what the fuck is going on here, man? Like, he was like 100% confused as to what
he really was.
He was. Did you guys catch that? Like,
yeah,
I forget who he was saying it to, but he was just like baffled. Like, what are we doing here? It was crazy. And I think if you're watching that game, the Chiefs are playing Chiefs ball. That doesn't change. It doesn't. You don't say, why didn't they do that? The downfall for you guys was, the receivers aren't catching the ball. That's been a problem as of late for the last few seasons, but you pull it together and you make a late run. So it is what it is. But like the Ravens were just not running the ball and they weren't running Lamar. It's as if they lost the play sheet. Like we don't even know where it's at.
And the Mahomes effect, man.
I mean, it was wild to see you guys literally make them one-dimensional. You made him stay in the pocket and essentially throw from there.
Yeah. I think our game plan was the opposite for the Bills is what it was for the Ravens, right? We defensively, I think Steve Spagnuolo was like, we're going to allow the Bills to run for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 yards all day if they want. We're not going to let Josh Allen beat us throwing downfield. And with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they were the opposite. They were like, we're going to stack the box, and they're going to see that 8th man up there, and they're going to say, well, we got to try to see what we can do with their guys in man coverage on receivers because we're not going to run with it. And I think that they tried to run. They look, other than that 4th and 1 play, they didn't really have much success on the runs that they tried to run. and Lamar wasn't getting loose. I mean, he got sacked several times during the game, and so I think that they were just daring them to throw the ball, and like they're like, dude, they're not going to beat us throwing the ball. Now they probably didn't think that they were going to abandon the run quite to
Completely.
the amount that they did.
Yeah.
But I think that once you see Patrick Mahomes go down and has the ball for 9 minutes, right? Like you run an 8-minute drive, you run a 9-minute drive, and then you're down 2 scores. You're like, shit, if they start taking 9 minutes off the clock when they get the ball, we don't have time to run. We're down 2 scores. It probably put them in a little
Exactly.
bit.
That's
But-
crazy too.
It still is
Yeah.
wild to think
Possession
that they
was
only.
wild.
I think they only ran to running back 6 times, right?
And I don't know if panic is the right word to use, because Harbaugh is a veteran, experienced Super Bowl winning coach. But it was almost like when they got down 7-0 and then 14-7, they kind of went like, "Oh shit, our Vaughn defense
Panic
is
mode,
getting
yeah.
shredded right now, and we're gonna have to like this game's a shootout now. We're gonna have to air it out." And I don't know if they just forgot their identity or if they panicked or what it was that got them out of doing what they had done all year, but they did, and they played right into the Chiefs' hands. The
Spags
L'Jarius
disguises.
the
Those
L'Jarius Sneed
disguises.
play where he punched the ball out of Zay Flowers' hands as he's getting ready to cross the goal line too was,
That's
I mean,
crazy.
in my opinion, the play of the game. I mean, if they get that touchdown there, I think it's a totally different game. But hey, we're here. I was rooting for this rematch of Super Bowl 54 last year, and we got that close to getting it, but we got it now. We got it this year. Let's just go around the horn. I mean, we're not going to do predictions or anything until the end here, but I just kind of want to get everybody's overall thoughts and kind of like how they're feeling about this game. We'll let our guests go first here. Nick, what do you think about the Super Bowl?
Okay. I'm going to be a little long-winded about this. I
Please.
generally think the AFC is a far, far superior conference than the NFC. If you held a gun to my head, I'm going to pick the Chiefs. That being said, I do think the 49ers can win.
Got a gun somewhere.
I do think the 49ers can win. Because like I said, the 2 games previous, they're irrelevant now. They're gone. You might as well say those games didn't happen. The 49ers are capable of playing a really good game. I think, and like I said, if you took the previous Super Bowl you guys were both in, I would have said the Chiefs were definitely the better team, like the far better team. And that game was in limbo for a lot of that game. So this game could very well be super close. 49ers could very well win, but if you held a gun to my head, I would say Chiefs 27, 49ers 17.
I mean, I'd sign up for that right now if that was going to be a guarantee. But, John, I mean, how confident are you feeling about your Niners, man? I mean, y'all are the favorites, right?
I mean, I'm confident because I think we have competent quarterback play. I think that we're more of a contender in the sense that we just have you seen Brock just take a hit but deliver a throw?
Yeah.
He does it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want Chris Jones or Karlaftis being the two. I don't want him trying to throw.
You ever seen Nick Bolton hit a quarterback?
I've seen Nick Bolton, but I do believe that we are built to at least hold off the rush long enough for Brock to do his thing. And that comes with Pro Bowl talent. You've got Juice and you've got Kittle, and they're there to chip and help out wherever they need to. So, I think I like my offense this year way better than I did in 2019.
Right.
I'm far more confident in this offense. Far more confident.
It's
I even
almost
like the
weird.
run game.
It's almost like the two teams have switched places from the last Super Bowl. Like the 49ers had the way better defense, or they had the better defense, and the Chiefs had the better offense. Now it's almost like the Chiefs have the better defense and the 49ers have the better offense. I don't know.
No.
Sorry to interrupt you there. You can finish your thought there, John.
Scott, there's a vibe around my Niners that really give me a lot of confidence. Like I feel it in my bones this year that this could be the year. If we can contain Patrick and minimize the gushing plays that he can, the things that he can do to my defense, if we do not stop him, it's scary. It's scary, man. But I mean, I believe in this team, man. I believe in this team. I don't believe that either defense has the depth that they had last year in the Super Bowl in 2019. I think both of our teams were deeper in 2019 across the board. I think last year I loved my defense, and this year, you know, we're a few guys. We're about 6 guys shy of that defense of last year, and I think you know, I think that the run game is Pacheco, and you know, I have been very vocal on this channel that I respect and love Pacheco. I mean, he's one of my favorite running backs in this league. And it's just because of the way he runs the ball. I mean, he runs, dude. Like, he will drag us and take us with him. So I just want to see us, like, you know, we really need to get in front of the run. We really need to stop the run, man. I mean, ultimately, I think that we need to stop the run, and I think that y'all need to stop the run. And I think we both need to need to hope to stop the run on both sides. So, you know, as far as throwing the ball, I fear, you know, my quarterback has a habit of throwing into the hands of the linemen when they put him up, you know, and it's just, you know, it's just one of those things. And it's happened at least once every game. And it makes me very nervous. You know, it makes me really nervous. I don't think he'll have the luxury of catching his own deflection like Lamar did against you guys, but
so close to being.
It wouldn't. Hey man, it wouldn't be a Chiefs playoff game if it wasn't for some fluky ass circus sideshow play for the opponent. But so John V's feeling pretty confident about his Niners. Nick, what are you? How are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess. Right? I feel like our team has been there 4 out of the last 5 years. They have this core of coaches and players that now it's like normal, right? For the core of our players to be in the Super Bowl, as weird as that sounds, but the coaches, they know what it is. Even if they get down, right? If they get down, 10 points, they're like, well, that's where we were last year in the Super Bowl at halftime, and we came back and won, and Patrick had a sprained ankle. So I feel like we have the pedigree, and it's really just going to come down to how can the defense hold up against the playmakers that the 49ers have on offense, and can we contain McCaffrey and Debo, right? Ayuk, right? And can they put up another like they've put up against Tyreek Hill and against, Stephon Diggs and against Lamar Jackson? And that's really going to be, for me, the deciding factor, because we know that Mahomes will keep you in the game. We know that they haven't been as explosive this year, but we saw it at the end of the AFC Championship game when it's like the game's on the line. He, put the ball in his hands and he's going to make something happen to win the game. So we have that faith that he can do it, because we've seen him do it for the last several years. And it's really just going to be, what can this defense do? And can they put up one more really good game against a really good offense? And I feel optimistic about that based on what we've seen. Losing Omenihu, I know that we played well without him in the AFC Championship game after he went out. We played well on defense for the first 6 games while he was suspended. But, I mean, losing him hurts. He's the guy that forced the fumble on Lamar Jackson. I feel terrible for him. That just like Charvarius Ward wants to play against the Chiefs, he wanted to play against the 49ers. So I feel awful for him, but that's a pretty big loss up front. We'll see how King Felix can do coming in as a rookie. But, you're trusting a rookie coming in against a really good team in the Super Bowl. So that could be something to watch out for. But I feel like we can definitely win this game. And I feel optimistic. Can we lose, to Nick's point? And to, like, obviously we can lose. So, like, you're in the Super Bowl. Like, both teams are really fucking good. But I feel good. I feel confident.
Yeah. Bo, what do you think?
I feel fucking good. I feel great. I'm a little bit more optimistic than Nick here. I'm very admirable at John V's confidence. I love it. I think it's gonna be a great matchup, dude. I think these teams are perfectly matched up to have a great game. But again, you leave the country for 1 week and you're thinking, all right, it's gonna be a good game. Everybody's gonna go in respectful and everything. You come back. And I guess the 49ers are already blaming the refs already. Like we hold over, we're going to get holding calls. The field's too soft for them. They're at a JV practice facility. I don't know. The trainer.
Bill Vinovich is a big Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
heard
have
that too.
trash cans, but every 3 days or something. I don't like. Just every excuse is coming out of the.
I've heard them.
Here.
I've heard
It's been funny to listen to give this team right now all the bulletin board material. I mean, this is a dangerous team right now. I am super confident in our abilities. We've sharpened our sword. We have a samurai blade now. We're not fighting with that Braveheart big now. We're cutting through goalposts now, man. Like this is a dangerous team, and we're gonna really expose the 49ers defense, especially their secondary. There's some chinks in the armor there that could be exposed really good. To all your guys' credits, yeah. I mean, I don't want to beat dead horses. You guys kind of said it all, but I'm looking forward to a great game, though. I think it's poised to be that way. We're matching up great, so
Yeah, I mean, I feel real confident. John, what do you? I mean, Bo brought up the kind of news about the 49ers, or maybe complaining. Or is that like are they using these things as like chips on their shoulder for motivation, or are you worried that they're worried about the wrong things at all? I mean, what's your take on all that?
I don't know, man. I saw the field. I mean, it wasn't ideal. I mean, you got to play, dude. Just do what you got to do out there.
Yeah.
You know, don't get hurt. Naturally, I don't want, I didn't see ruts in the field. I just saw that it was just wet. I mean, just deal with it. You know what I mean? Just deal with it. Be grateful that you're playing inside of a dome. Like we don't really need to make a big deal about it. And I don't even know, like, it's like Andy Reid said, he didn't even hear anything about it, about potentially splitting time with the Niners on the on the practice field. He said he didn't hear anything about it. And that, because the word was that they refused. Whatever, dude. Like, I don't expect anybody to make my stay here any easier. It is what it is. Right. So I don't care about that shit, man.
wish your team had the same mindset.
My team feels as though, it's listen, guys, it's Chiefs everything. It's Chiefs fans are always going to, they believe in Patrick. They hold him at a high regard. They've been here 4 times out of 6 or 4 times out of 5. They've been to 7 AFC championships or whatever it is. Like, what is it? 8?
Keep going.
How many is it? 6 or 7 or 8? You guys have been doing this. It's getting monotonous, right? It's getting monotonous for the rest of us. Naturally, one of us, we're all coming for you. Everybody's coming for you every week. Yeah. You're the defending champs. So, you want to be a champion, you have to beat a champion. So if my team is complaining, great. If they don't like their field, fine. You just make up for that. Like, if you feel that the league could have been better off, should they have set you up elsewhere? I don't know. Like, since when did anybody go and check shit? Right. I never knew of anybody going to check anything. Send somebody
I'm always
out
smiling,
there.
Sparks. Always smiling.
Send somebody out there, and send somebody out there and have them check out the situation. Don't wait till you get there and be like, oh, the field looks like shit. We could have made arrangements to go elsewhere. Send somebody out there ahead of time and check.
Yeah, and the Chiefs practiced at Arizona State last year while the Eagles were practicing at the Cardinals facilities. So I mean, and they won the game. So
the UNLV facilities are brand new. They're like $280 million brand new facilities. Right. Built like last year.
It looks fantastic. Yeah, I just don't understand what. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of rainfall. There was a lot of rain on that side of the country, right? I mean, you guys were getting hit, or they were getting hit anyway.
And they were talking about the Chiefs practiced in pads outdoors in the rain too. So, guest Nick down there on the bottom. I mean, do you think the 49ers are worried about the wrong things, or do you think they're just using this as like a chip on our shoulder, trying to find motivation to get fired up? What do you think?
You mean the 49ers fans or the 49ers?
The team with the complaints about the holds and the practice facilities and the referees and this and that. I mean, do you think that's a positive or a negative for them going into the game?
Here's the thing. I generally think holds are bullshit because I actually, and my team's the biggest sufferer of that because they never. How many
Myles
holding
Garrett
calls?
got
How
held
many
every
holding calls
play.
do you think they called against Myles Garrett this year?
Right, exactly.
I think I might be able to maybe 3. Maybe.
Chris Jones is in that same thing too, man. The guy,
Yeah.
you watch the replays, he's getting held all the time.
I mean,
yeah,
it is absolutely, and the refs are right there. They're staring at it. They're just choosing not to call it. So I generally believe that's a big gripe. That being said, no, I don't. I think they are worrying about if they're worrying about anything else other than winning this game, it's the wrong thing.
Yeah,
gotta be worried
I
about-
think a lot of social media. I think our
Oh,
fan
yeah.
base
No, it is.
actually makes my team look way worse. You know, I have yet to hear the players make comments on it. I just see, you know, beat writers share,
Yeah.
you know, whatever the hell they hear, and then my
That's a
fan
great
base
point.
just takes it and just fucking spreads
Right.
it like wildfire. So
Right.
for those of
Thanks,
us that have a
Shefty.
level head, I think, yeah, Shefty for sure. You know, for those of us that have a level head, I think we know what's at stake here. 7 players lost that game to you guys in 2019. Those guys are steering the ship. I mean, they're trying to get the rest of this team just because, I mean, when they get to opening night, like a lot of those guys are young and a lot of them never been there. And some of the vets have never been there. They're trying to take in opening night. They're trying to take in the whole Super Bowl experience. And everyone's saying it like, we're just trying to take it in. We're trying to take it in. It's a huge moment for them. And that moment can be a distraction. Whereas, you know, in part to what you said, Nick, like this is kind of a normal for you guys to compete under the lights in the Super Bowl and the AFC championships and over and over and over and over. Whereas I've seen my team lose in 2012 and in 2019, right? It's all been due to a quarterback.
Yeah.
My quarterback now is just giving, you know, in part to what Big Doug was saying. Like, I understand. I totally get it. I fully understand. When you win, you get to stand there and point at everyone else like that. Like that's it's the Niners have to finish. They have been competitive for years and years and years, and they're just falling short due to quarterback play. You know, if Brock Purdy can be this good now, win, lose, this dude is going to be a great quarterback in the league. And I hope we'll see more of these matchups. I still believe that we would have been Purdy versus Mahomes last year, Purdy versus Mahomes this year. I believe that we would see this matchup more and more frequently because I do believe that, you know, if you're as young as Purdy and you're number one in many metrics, like these are good accolades to stack. You know, Patrick did it, you know, last year. Purdy found himself in a conversation with who? Patrick Mahomes, Kurt Warner. You know what I'm saying? And he's just doing it again. His name is being mentioned up there with Steve Young and Joe Montana. We're still got Patty Mahomes in there. We still got Kurt Warner in there. And we still got a lot of other guys. We've got guys like, what's his name from Roethlisberger from Pittsburgh, you know, per se that he wins a Super Bowl in his second year. You know, he'd be one of the younger guys to do it. I mean, look, all we can ask for is a chance to compete. Am I nervous about competing against Andy Reid, Spags, and Patrick Mahomes? I absolutely am.
Yeah.
I think everyone, you're not a football fan if you're going to sit here and believe that it's going to be an easy day. This is supposed to be a grudge match. Like, this is going to be a grudge match for us. This is going to be standing on business for you. I mean, both teams have a lot riding on it. You know, you guys want another championship and the Niners want a championship, you know.
Yeah.
I think this is the matchup that it should have been last year. And I think we're getting the rights wronged. I think it's corrected. And I believed it. I always believed it. And I've always said to you, Scott, we got to get back to this matchup.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. But I mean, like I said, to get here, all you can ask for is an opportunity to compete. That's a blessing all in itself. You know, you guys made it.
I didn't know if you'd catch the name I put there on the window for myself, going back to the old days there of Shant Club.
Mr. Smug, I see it. I see
Mr.
it.
Smug,
Mr. Smug, I see it.
I've been wanting to ask a 49ers fan this question all week, and some 49ers fans that are in the chat, because obviously
Dude,
all
me
of us
too.
Chiefs
It's on my
fans-
mind. Same.
all of us Chiefs fans think we should be the favored team. And so I want to know what, John, I want to get your opinion on this, and all the 49ers fans that are joining us. Appreciate you coming by and stopping in.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Dude, making for a fun chat here, going back and forth with Chiefs Kingdom and faithful to the Bay here. Do you think the 49ers should be the favorites, John?
Yeah, I mean, we have a better record, I think. I think we earned it. But what does that really say, though? Like, what is it? I mean, Vegas is not, you guys aren't, you're not strangers to the Vegas stadium.
No.
You know, do I think that is it much? To me, it's even. To me right now, walking into this,
Yeah.
what's a favorite right now? What's the favorite?
Yeah,
You
no, I
have-
get you.
You know what I'm saying? Like I understand where a lot of the Chiefs believe it. I mean, I would say just because of our record alone.
Yeah.
And I mean, essentially, I think that's what, between that and McCaffrey, I think that's really what's setting the stage. It's just the record. But if you're asking 49er fans, are we taking that to the bank? Like, that means nothing to us.
Yeah.
After coming back in 2019 and beating us with a 17-point lead, like, this fucking spread means nothing to me. Like, it actually means nothing to me. When we line up and it's the beginning of the game, it means it's zero to me. Like, I'm nervous. I am terrified.
You don't say.
I'm fucking terrified. But I'm
No,
excited at the same time.
Right.
So-
No, I get you.
so-
No, I know what you mean. To me, it's just funny, and maybe our guest Nick here can speak to this here after I kind of lay it out. But I get it's different teams, right? And the players turnover, and it's not the same teams that have been in the Super Bowl, like let's say Super Bowl 54 or the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay. But I don't ever remember the Patriots when they were in their run of going to 3 and 4 and 5 Super Bowls in 5 and 6 years ever being the underdogs. Do you? I mean, Nick, do you think what is it you think the 49ers are favored for? Do you think they should be the favorite?
I think the 49ers are favored probably for a couple reasons. One of which is like I said before, I wasn't the only one that said from day one in the preseason, 49ers are going to the Super Bowl in that conference. On top of that, they had a certain level of dominance over that conference. And while I think everyone's going to agree that the AFC is better than the NFC, I think people still try and say they're kind of similar, which they're not. They're just not. The NFC is horrid, terrible teams. And the AFC is absolutely loaded. Like I said, I think the 49ers can win, obviously. But if you're asking me and why I have the Chiefs winning, I just think their steel's a little more sharpened.
Right.
Like, I think they've faced better teams, they've beaten better teams, and they made it through the gauntlet.
Right.
Once again. And they have the current experience. Like, they're going into the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm sure they're excited to be there, but it's kind of just standard operating procedure.
Right.
Like, they're going to play looser. They don't have as much pressure on them. They're going to play looser. They're going to feel like they're going to be there next year. And I feel like they have the advantage. I would pick them as the favorite. That being said, there's a reason why I'm not a Vegas odds maker.
Among other
There's probably a
things.
lot of reasons
point.
you're not a Vegas odds maker, that being one of them. I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling really good, confident. You know, Nick, and I are on the same page a lot more often than I would probably like to admit.
The only thing
Yeah,
we weren't
to
on the
me-
same page about is the Browns. That's the only thing we weren't on the same page about.
Right. I was just higher on the Bengals.
You got
than
to
I
come
was
back to the
Phoenix.
middle on that Browns bridge, though, for the rest of the world.
Right. I mean,
No, because I actually think with the Browns, I actually think they should be much better. You gotta all my predictions were based upon probably having a healthy Watson, probably having a healthy Chubb, probably having a healthy offensive line, probably having a healthy defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what most of my predictions were based upon. We had none of those.
Right.
Shit, our kicker got hurt.
Right. Yeah, I think the thing that gives me the most confidence and makes me feel very confident about the Chiefs in this game is, to me, they have the coaching advantage, they have the quarterback advantage, and they have the experience advantage. And those three things are like the three biggest advantages in football. I mean, you look at a lot of football games, and if you got the better coach or the more experienced coach, and you've got the better quarterback, the most experienced quarterback, you win most of those games. And that's not just talking about the Chiefs or the 49ers. I mean, that's any NFL game you watch during the regular season. I mean, I definitely – I mean, I don't take the 49ers lightly. They are definitely a worthy opponent. They could definitely win the game. This isn't one of those games where, like, I'm trying to think of the last Super Bowl where it's kind of like a team got hot and won a couple games in the playoffs, and it's like, oh, this team's out of nowhere in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's neither of these teams. Both of these teams, John, you were talking about how many AFC championship games the Chiefs have gone to straight. The Niners have been in this game, what, 3 or 4 of the last 4 or 5 years themselves?
Yeah.
So it's not – they're not some, like, scrappy upstart that has, won a win on the road in one wild card game and then caught a team maybe overconfident and lucked themselves into the Super Bowl. I mean, both teams are quality teams. Both teams have been to – I mean, the 49ers were just in this game 4 years ago, and – we're in the conference championship game last year and obviously again this year. What do we think? I go around the horn here. I mean, what do we think like the biggest strength is for each team? Like, what is it going to be that is going to carry, like, let's say the 49ers or the Chiefs to like win the game? Bo?
Yeah, sure. I'll just go ahead and take all the obvious answers so you guys can sit here and think about it, right? No, I mean, the 49ers' biggest threat to me is CMC, right? Our biggest chink in the armor or Achilles heel for you all season to me has been our run defense. We've just had this unnatural ability to not be able to tackle runners for some reason. Running backs just elude our guys somehow, and it's just been a shaky point all season. And when you're going up against the best running back in football, it's like, okay, let's watch this guy. He's the man, right? You got to account for what he's going to do. Not only that, he's just dangerous out of the back too. He can catch, he can do it all. So, I mean, just CMC is the number one, but their offense, man, I just think about all their studs they have. It's going to be a busy day for our defense, but perfect little segue into what's going to keep us in the game is our defense. So this is a revamped defense we've never seen the likes of before. I mean, these guys, think about it all year. Who's had the best defense, right? Everybody's talking about the Browns, the Ravens, the Chiefs. Who's in it now? The Chiefs. So we had the best defense in football. I'll just go ahead and say it, right? So, I mean, it's going to be a tall task for the Niners offense to go up against this defense. I mean, this is a tight unit. I kind of brought up the guy before, Nick Bolton. I mean, I talk about a key player. He's getting his cast off, and like, you want to see a dude like really affect a game.
Yeah.
Watch him catch balls and not just bat them down, right? Like, it's going to be a whole different element to our defense. And then we're just cruising. All facets of our game right now are cruising. All 3 phases looking really good, really smooth. As long as we can, keep the penalties and the mistakes to a minimum, our receivers actually catch the ball. I like I said, I feel really confident in this game. Probably more confident than I should, but I feel really great about this.
Our Nick, what do you think?
I think I've said this pretty much all the playoffs, but if the Chiefs don't turn the ball over, they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
I just think that it's going to be down to, our defense is good. They will hold the 49ers to a a score that our offense can beat, unless we give them short fields and we give them extra opportunities and we give them extra juice by turning the ball over. So I think that it's really going to come down to, right, the Chiefs either not turning the ball over, I'll add not dropping, right, passes, because that's what, I mean, we're like a couple of drop passes and maybe a foot offsides from a wide receiver of being the 1 seed this year. If you look at the Eagles game, the Lions game, and the Bills game, that's the difference between 11-6 and 14-3. But so if we don't turn the ball over, then we're going to win. And I think it's going to be, can the 49ers defense create those turnovers, and can they force the Chiefs into those mistakes? And I think that that's going to be the ultimate thing when we're looking back at who won the game. They're going to say, hey, they made this play, they forced this person to fumble the ball, or look, Patrick Mahomes had another playoff game. It's his 7th in a row now with no turnovers. And I think that that's going to be the story. So,
right. John V., what carries your boys to the Lombardi Trophy? And if the Chiefs win, who is it, or what is it the Chiefs do to get them to victory?
I mean, if my secondary gets diced up, if they can't hang, then I mean that's going to do it. I mean that could do it. As far as the run game, I mean, I'm right there with Bo. I mean, we were just as bad. I mean, we couldn't tackle the runner to save our soul, and we gave up a lot of yards doing it in both the Green Bay game and the Detroit game. So, I mean, if you're going to take my team and judge them based off the last 2 playoff games, I mean, I expect folks to do that, but I mean, we're the 1 seed, so take your sample size and expand it into the regular season, and just take some of the better defenses that we played against. Because I mean, to get a good look at Kansas City, Spags is going to disguise a lot. It's going to make you see things that aren't really what they are, right? So you're going to think that somebody's going to come down and bite on something when in fact they're probably not. They're just going to stay stern and make you play honest, right? And I think that's what San Francisco's been able to do this season with Brock Purdy. Was we could play any style of ball. We could hang with the run game. We could air it out. You know what I mean? We could get guys into space and we could make it happen. And Brock's just his magic is kind of what, like, think about it. What was Patrick Mahomes doing his first year? He was throwing with anticipation, right? Yeah. That was huge. That was one of the things that was huge. Brock Purdy is throwing with anticipation, but the kid's pocket awareness and his ability to feel the pocket, it's special. And it's essentially what's kept us in every game. If Brock Purdy can stay, if you give him 2.5 seconds, he's going to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
It's just San Francisco loses if the secondary can't keep up, and Kansas City loses if they can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. We're just going to turn around into play action, and we're just going to make you bleed. You know what I mean? But the problem is, once we strike fast, and we will strike fast. I mean, I firmly believe if we get ball first, we score. I think we'll score off that first drive. But we need to get a turnover on that second possession. The moment you guys come down the field, I think San Francisco has to make a stand early. Because if we stack points, we can kind of insulate ourselves a little bit, because I expect you guys to stack. I mean, I would expect you guys to come back and strike boom, boom. That's the thing. If San Francisco can strike fast and we can insulate ourselves just a little bit, I mean, you got to know that with Andy Reid and Patrick, there's no healthy lead. You know what I mean? You guys have built your brand of ball off of coming from behind. I mean, you've been doing it since like 2018 or 2019, right, somewhere in there. You guys have always been coming back. You guys have always, even the year that you won in 2019, you won the Super Bowl that year. You guys were coming back from substantial. You guys were down 3 scores and coming back late in the game, right, and it was a Butker kick, or and that's the other thing too. We don't compete in the kicking game, folks. Right? Like we don't. Like, you guys get to sit back and ride off into the sunset if it comes down to Butker. But if this kick comes down to Moody, if this game came down to Moody, I'm probably in the street, running as far down the street as possible, and I'm not going to know the outcome of that kick.
You know,
I come back
John,
home.
I know people say kickers aren't football players, and I haven't really seen very many people talk about the kicking advantage that the Chiefs have. Butker, 55 and in, the dude is money. I mean, the Chiefs have to go a lot less distance to score points than the 49ers.
I mean,
That
I'll
could
give
be
you what
something that
Mooney
I-
has been hitting from 50,
Right.
54. So, like, he doesn't hit the stuff he's supposed to, Scott,
Right.
but he's ripping this stuff from afar.
Yeah. It's
You never
yeah, I
know what
don't-
you're going to get.
You never know. Nick, bottom down there, what do you what carries each team to victory?
And to be honest, I'm going to touch on what John said. I think this game is going to come down to starts. I think that if the Chiefs, you're going to know how this game's going to go. If the Chiefs are able to come out and just score, if they're able to come out and just score, it's going to be a long day for 49ers. Don't expect a fucking Dan Campbell bullshit to happen. Right? If the 40,
dude,
if the
that's a
Chiefs,
given. We're
if the
talking
Chiefs
about
come out and they
Hall of
score,
Famer here.
it's going to be a long day. Because here's why. The 49ers, like a lot of people like to consider them a dynamic offense. I think their offense comes from their defense. Their defense gives them a ball, and if they give them the ball enough, they will eventually chip away and score. I don't think, like, I'm going to disagree with Bo. I don't think CMC is a great running back, and I don't think that's what you're going to have to worry about. I think CMC
You
I
can
was
impacts the
bugging
game.
something was going to come out.
I think CMC impacts the
It's
game
almost
differently.
like
But if it's a running back that you're worried about, don't worry about CMC because he's not a great one at that particular thing. He impacts the game differently, different ways, but in terms of running the ball, he's not the greatest runner in the world.
Yeah.
So if the Chiefs offense is able to drive down the field, has sustained drives, put some points on the board early, I think the 49ers are going to have a hard time winning that game. If they're able to stymie Mahomes, get some quick 3 and outs, and then stack some points on, yeah, they're going to beat you.
Are the Niners notorious for deferring or taking the ball when they win the coin flip, John?
Pretty much
You know?
everybody defers nowadays, don't they?
no, they defer.
Stefanski actually took the ball a lot.
I don't.
I mean, I want to see you on your best. I want you on this drum. We got to get into rhythm. I feel like
You gonna take it? You think?
I think so. I think in the Super Bowl, if you're not gonna defer, not when you know you're going up against this air raid offense. You got Spags. There's a lot here. John Clifford, man, I respect the team, bro, but make no mistake, I bleed red and gold, brother. Not yellow, red
Love you,
and
John
gold, my
C.
friend.
You're the man.
But I do believe that you're foolish if you think that you're going to run away with something. This year, our offense is the bread and butter of this team, and they complement each other well, right? So, I expect the defense to give up some runs to Pacheco. I expect Patrick to get some throws off. But I got a question for you fellas. What's going on with Tony? And why does he keep making these he's making these like cryptic comments like I'm wide receiver 1 if I get the ball. Like, bro, you can't fucking catch.
Right. Right.
Let's just stop that. Stop saying things right now.
No.
Look, you can't run routes. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Look, here's the deal. The
MVS
guy is
MVS is who I fear.
he.
Actually,
Not
agree
as
with
soon
Joel.
as I thought I'd be
I think
hearing in
MVS
Super Bowl week this year.
I think you should be worried
MVS
about
is for
Travis.
a big game.
I think you should worry about Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice before you worry about MVS. But
I
Tony
I
stuff
think
to
MVS
me,
is going to be big this week.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Lenore
Scott's not a
is
fan of
going
MVS.
to keep up with anyone you put on a streak. Lenore is going to shadow. I mean, Lenore is lights out. So he is lights
I
out.
don't think Lenore in the term lights
It's
out.
Ambry Thomas. It's
ever
Ambry
go
Thomas
together.
concerns about. And I think we'll all agree it's Ambry Thomas is the weak link in that regard.
Yeah.
But as far as Treverius Ward and Lenore, I expect them to play sound. I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be all right.
Here's why I think MVS is going to have a big game, because they're going to key on Kelsey. Now you're not going to stop Kelsey even if you key on him, but they are going to
just ask Kyle Hamilton and Matt Milano.
Yeah, they're also going to key on Rice. But MVS 6'5", fast, can jump,
Great hands.
Like, yeah,
He's got sticks of butter for fingers, Nick.
Wrong joke.
one
Wrong person.
game.
You're complimenting a man with 2 cinder blocks on his hands.
He has
Just
to
imagine a
have
man
for
running
one
around
game.
with a cinder block.
Any guy can have one game where their hands are really good.
Right.
Wait,
Yeah,
oh,
no.
you're talking about playoff MVS. Yeah, that guy's
Right.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, that guy's good. That guy's amazing.
Hey, look, man, the guy had the game-winning catch against the Ravens last week,
Yeah,
of course.
exactly.
I mean, who else
That was
would
a
it
great
be?
catch. That was a
Who
great
else
catch.
would it be?
Guy up for it, grabbed it right
Dude,
here.
John,
Put it in.
that
Falling down.
happened. My immediate reaction wasn't to jump up and cheer. It was to look over at my brother and see what his reaction was. I was not disappointed because he was just laughing his ass off, like just. Of course,
I
of course,
couldn't
that's
even
what
see
fucking
the
happened.
guy's number as he was rolling backwards on the ground. I knew instantly who it was. I
The
knew
49ers
instantly who it was that caught that pass.
The 49ers secondary is and has been for a long time sus as shit.
Yeah.
And MVS is the one guy who could really take advantage of that.
Yeah. Look, getting back to the Kadarius Toney thing. He's just a dude that drinks his own Kool-Aid, man. That's what that guy is. He thinks
I know.
The legend in
he
his own
thinks
mind.
he thinks he's it, and he ain't it, man. Like it's just it's not there.
I feared that coming into Kansas City, man. I think we were pretty vocal about that here on the show as well. I think you guys were just kind of reluctant. You guys needed to see just what you were going to get from him. And I think some of us kind of, I mean, look, dude, when you're going to Andy Reid's offense, you kind of feel like Andy Reid's got a pretty intimidating look about him. Like,
Yeah.
if he can set you straight, it's going to be here. You're going to adhere to the way we do things. We're world champs. Like, this is what we do here. So you think about the culture there that you've established and that you guys have built. You think that would speak for itself to where that diva bullshit isn't going to fly here, bro. We did this before you, and we will do it again after you. You're merely just here
as
for the ride.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of us thought that Tyreek Hill was going to be a huge loss for the Chiefs, right? Like, and in some capacity, I'm sure it is. But I mean, you persevere and you faced adversity and you guys won anyway. So it is what it is. Like, it's very hard to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You guys have made a habit of it, but I can tell you guys, like, we get all of our ducks in the row and then we're just one game away and then we just can't.
We know we went 50 years without going to one.
Yeah, I mean,
I
you're
mean,
talking to a guy for the first 35 years of his life saw his team playing one AFC championship game and no Super Bowls. So
Yeah, but you guys had
I should not have this much gray hair in my 30s, man. I blame a lot of that
No,
on the
you're right.
Chiefs.
You're right.
you guys had really cool players like Christian Okoye,
we did.
and
Derek Thomas, Neil Smith, man. I mean, Rich Gannon, who went on to be MVP when he left here and went to the Raiders. Tony Gonzalez, the greatest of all time before the new greatest of all time.
There you go.
Travis Kelce, Jamal Charles, man, dude.
Kareem Hunt. I still a fan of him.
Yeah.
Priest Holmes, one of the greatest offensive lines of all time with Willie Rofe and Will Shields and Brian Waters and those guys, man. I mean, yeah, dude, this team, I mean, that was heartbreak after heartbreak growing up as a Chiefs fan. Going back to the MVS thing, though, have you ever seen a team with 3rd and 9 needing to get a first down to ice away a championship game, throw a 40-yard pass downfield, fucking put the game away?
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
mean, they knew they had it.
teams run the ball or they throw a safe screen. Patrick throws a 40
Have you seen the all
fadeaway.
22 on that? Have you seen like the
Yeah.
zoomed out version? Dude, he's wide open the entire route, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, they call it. I mean, and he throws it. And Patrick, I'm not going to say he's under a lot of pressure, but he had a guy come. I mean, he wasn't standing there stepping into that pass. He's kind of falling backwards as he kind of like fade away launches that thing, man.
So was there a safety on that play? Was it just him one-on-one with the safety on that throw?
He got misdirected, right? Like some guy came
Yeah.
across and he got taken up by him.
I mean, if Patrick sees his receiver, granted, I mean, he may be a little nervous throwing it to MVS, but if he sees the one-on-one with the safety, I mean, he's going to take it every time.
Yeah,
Good.
3rd and 9. Though, I mean, if you don't complete the pass, it stops the clock. You got to punt the ball back to him on the north end of the 2-minute warning.
We got to build some confidence here, Scott. Like, we're trying to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, we need this guy. Like,
A lot of teams would have
You
ran
guys-
it and got to the 2-minute warning and punted it, especially with the Chiefs.
A
defense.
lot of those teams wouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl.
I get it.
Dan
yeah, but
Campbell
you know what, though?
didn't move for it
That's
on
the
4th
kind of
down.
thing.
I need to touch on something before people. So, Christian McCaffrey comments. Christian McCaffrey is a good runner. No, because
get why-
I get
I
why Tony has that feature. It says goodbye, motherfucker, and just zaps
Yes.
you out.
If this
Right.
one thing happens, McCaffrey can have a huge game. But this is the one thing. If the defense is cracking down on a team and the 49ers keep getting the ball back, McCaffrey can break one or two. And that's when he gets his big games. But only if the defense is being great. If
McCaffrey
the
has
defense is not being
made
great,
history.
McCaffrey can have a shit game. Trust me, I've seen it.
Nick,
Yeah,
real
I
quick,
mean,
who was the
stop
only
shitting.
running back in the MVP conversation this year?
McCaffrey, because they
It's
give him the
TMC,
fucking
right?
ball every time in the red zone.
Yeah, he
They
does.
Nick,
run
I mean,
Why
Nick,
would
Nick,
you?
I
Why
mean,
do
you
you think
run
they
him-
do that?
It's not just the red
They
zone,
could-
but yes.
McCaffrey is just a guy back there. They could have Elijah Mitchell. He'd have 20 touchdowns
Why
Elijah
doesn't
Mitchell can't
Elijah
stay up.
Mitchell have 20 touchdowns?
because McCaffrey's better than Elijah Mitchell.
How many touchdowns does he have?
What's
How many
that?
yards does he have?
I'm just saying McCaffrey's better than. I'm not saying the
He's
guy
got to
sucks,
baby step this though.
but what I'm saying is he's not a great running back. And if you're talking about just toting the rock, which is something you're afraid of, that I don't think. Now, can he break one? Especially
not.
if the defense, especially if the defense is playing good. Yes, he can break one and have a big game rushing the ball too. But I don't think he's
I meant him
necessarily
just
a great
being on the
running back.
field, right? Because like it's not just like, oh, hand the ball off to this guy. Like, no, you can send him out wide. You can put him anywhere on the field, and he's that guy.
Sure.
I'm not saying just watch out for the runs he's about to run. I'm saying watch out for this one player who affects the game more than
Yeah.
most people do.
I mean, look,
No, he looks like he's going to attack the left side. It looks like he's going to run outside zone to the left, and then he just does this cut, and you just see him round right through the tackle, and he goes diagonal right, and it's just 60 yards. to
I'd
the
be more
house.
worried about Debo
He's,
Samuel
he's,
than
he's
Christian McCaffrey.
shifty. He's very shifty. Nick
Yeah,
doesn't
I
respect
mean,
shifty.
yeah.
guys.
I don't know. I don't know how healthy Debo Samuel is right now. I mean,
Healthy enough,
there was concern he wasn't going to play in the NFC championship game, right?
and he did.
Yeah, but he did. But that
Now
doesn't
he's gonna.
mean-
Now he'll even play through. Even if he gets injured, he'll try to play through it because it's the last game of the season.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
you're
mean,
trying
I
to play
fully
through injury,
expect
playing
all
injured.
hands on
You're not. You're not the threat that you are.
Hey, just have to dangle one arm. He's running around with one arm.
You got to use your arms to run, man. I mean, I don't know when the last time you ran was, but like your arms are moving
He's
when
like
you're
a little-
running. Like
he's
Oh,
just like a
wait,
little-
wait.
he's just
First
like a
of
little
all, Nick
muscle
does
ball
not
with
move his
noodle
arms
hanging
when he
down.
runs. Nick looks
You
like
guys use your
looks
arms
like-
when you run? I just keep mine straight down, and I just
Like you're carrying invisible suitcases, like the Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. To me, getting back, we were talking about like what's the key for each team. This is the NFL, and it's a quarterback league. Who's going to have the day, man? Is it going to be Patrick Mahomes or is it going to be Brock Purdy?
Taylor
Can
Swift.
Brock Purdy? This is the best secondary I believe Brock Purdy has faced all year with L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie at corner. Justin Reed is a heck of a safety. They've got guys that can cover.
That's it, Scott. We're not going to attack like that, though. We're
could be
probably just going to put it in the hands of our playmakers and hope that they can just make big plays. I mean, to sit here and expect Brock to, under the pressure from the defensive line, to throw into a bracketed coverage, because I would imagine they're going to bracket Ayuk. So it's like to think that he's just going to throw 30 yards downfield into McDuffie's or Sneed's. It's just, we've got to play him. We've got to play you guys.
I think that's gonna be the Chiefs' defensive game plan now, similar to what they did with the Ravens. Stack the box, keep guys up by the line of scrimmage. Don't let them get the edge like Debo and these guys like to do and get outside for big gains and make them throw the ball down the field and beat them. I mean, I think that's what they're going to do. I'm not saying the guy can't do it. He's impressed me. I personally thought they made a mistake by going with Purdy over Lance. I did not see Purdy really duplicating and replicating what he was able to do last year, this year. I thought defenses would figure him out. I thought it was a little bit of smoke and mirrors. I thought there'd be a sophomore slump, and the guy did, to his credit. He balled out all year and was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So, we talk about Christian McCaffrey. I've been hearing for years that the way you beat the Chiefs is to run the ball and control the clock. That's not how you beat the Chiefs. You beat the Chiefs by matching big plays and scoring points. The Bills ran all over the Chiefs in the divisional round, and the Chiefs beat them. And if McCole Hardman doesn't fumble the ball into the end zone, they win that game by multiple scores.
Tony and I discussed that. Same sentiment, Scott. Go ahead. I like where you're going with it.
So, I mean, you go back to the games the Chiefs have lost the last 2, 3, 4 years has been when teams could air it out. Jared Goff scored 50 with the Rams. Derek Carr and the Raiders came into Arrowhead and threw the ball over the yard and had 3 or 4 touchdowns and 300, 400, whatever it was, yards passing that day. That's how you beat the Chiefs. You can have your
good point.
Your long drawn out drives, because here's the deal, man. Like, when you get down there, you better score touchdowns, and you get a holding penalty or you get a tackle for a loss. Now you're in 2nd and 3rd and long, and you can't run the ball. You got to throw it. I think I've seen one team beat the Chiefs by running the ball and shortening the game in 4 years, and that was the Colts 3 years ago against the Chiefs. Where the Chiefs had 3 turnovers in that game. So, we
don't know what type of game we're gonna get, man. The game kind of reveals what kind of game it's gonna be. We'll know we'll know by the end of the first quarter what kind of a game we're going in for, because, Scott, I'll tell you what, man, the Niners know exactly what you guys are capable of. Yeah. It's really not, you're right. You can't sit here and dictate the pace of the game and what you're going to do to Patrick to stop the offense. Like, you said it, dude. Honestly, you just have to meet and match that you got to match the points, bro. If you score, we score. And if we see a shootout between Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes, like, that scares me, but I like my quarterback in this situation.
Yeah.
I would not ever be this confident if Jimmy Garoppolo was behind, under center.
Right. I want to ask everybody here on the panel. We'll start with our Nick. I saw on Wayne Breezy's show today, they were talking about, did you see his show today, John V?
No.
They kind of broke down position by position, and they took who they thought were the best at each position from both team was. Like, they built one team out of the 2 rosters. It was kind of interesting the way they did it, but they had on there that Deebo Samuel was clearly and definitely better than Rashee Rice at wide receiver. Rashee Rice had more yards and as many touchdowns as Deebo. I know Deebo missed some time with injury, but Rashee Rice is a rookie and didn't even start until halfway through the year. Nick, I mean, they're pretty similar players, man. I mean, do you think Deebo or Rice is their wide receiver?
It's hard not to be a homer when you get these questions, right?
Right. No, yeah, I understand.
It's also kind of hard.
Who are you gonna pick?
You're taking one whose sample size is Deebo is Debo is a great football player, but to sit here and take a rookie like Rashee Rice and say, are you better than Debo Samuel? I mean, Debo has it. Go ahead, Nick. I'm going to try to think about what I want to say.
Are we talking about for this game, or are we talking about going forward?
I mean, I don't know for this game. I mean, whatever. I just Rice had more yards and as many touchdowns as Debo did this
Here's
year.
the thing.
Yeah, but let's
Debo
take the yards. Let's take the yards out of it. Just try to compare both. Try to compare them both.
They're both similar.
as-
They're big, strong guys who get a lot of yards after contact and are hard to bring down.
Debo Samuel's not a great running back. He's not a great wide receiver. He's a great player.
Right?
He's a great player.
You sound
Well,
congested.
not-
Show
Are you
called
just
nobody that's
smoking
really
a
good
pipe?
is actually good.
He is not a guy that if you were a quarterback and you had a pretty decent cornerback against opposite Debo Samuel, that you would feel comfortable throwing it in Debo Samuel's direction when he was somewhat covered by that guy. Okay, Rashee Rice is a very talented wide receiver. There's a reason why he was picked at the position he was picked.
Right.
Because he is a very talented wide receiver. Even now, in his young rookie season, he's still more talented than Debo Samuel as a receiver. But if you're asking me who has the most influence on the game, Debo Samuel has more influence on the game than anyone in that game, with maybe the exception of Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well,
I like that take.
I like Brandon Ayuk better than Debo Samuel. Ayuk
No,
had 1,400 yards this year.
I mean, as a
That guy-
receiver, yeah. As a
that guy's
receiver,
good.
Ayuk's better.
Well, I know, but
But-
Debo's a receiver too.
But-
Our Nick, what do you think?
Look, I obviously I'm a Chiefs fan.
You're picking like backyard ball, and you need a wide receiver, and the two guys are standing there for this game. Who are you going to pick?
Look, based off of what I saw in -30 wind chill, right? And I mean, Chiefs players and coaches said that Chris Jones said that people are getting frostbite. Rashee Rice delivered, and I've seen him make some really freaking clutch plays, going down the stretch here, getting open on third downs, extending drives for us. I don't know. It feels wrong not to pick Rashee Rice, so I'm going to pick Rashee Rice. But like, you can't
That's all
lose.
right.
That's the good thing is like you can't lose in that situation. They're both.
No,
Great
I know, but on
players.
their show, they were like, they just said, "Oh, it's clear, it's Debo Samuel," and they just moved on. And I was like, well, "Hold on, time
Because
out."
I would
Like,
imagine
look
that they're
what the guys
going
have
by
done.
experience. I would imagine that they're judging by experience, and that's where it's skewed because I feel like you're taking years away from Rashee Rice. You still got to give him a chance to do more. Let's see, Debo. Let me.
He's one of the best 4 or 5 wide receivers the second half of the year. Rashee Rice.
My question is this: Why were they comparing Rashee Rice to Debo? If you're going to compare anyone, you would compare Rashee Rice to Ayuk.
I don't know.
probably because
Rashee Rice
they're-
doesn't really catch the ball downfield like Ayuk. He doesn't really have the speed that Ayuk has. He's more of a
Okay,
they,
so
they
Ayuk-
don't run that they don't run the ball with Rice the way the 49ers do with Debo, but they run a lot of these little
Quick
passes
screens.
out to the flat and these wide receiver screens, which are basically like a running play, right, for him. And he gets a lot of yards. I mean, he led the league in yards after contact in YAC this year.
And he smoked the entire Ravens defense on a
Right.
screenplay for a
I saw
touchdown that got called back.
that.
Right. And so they were wide receiver one. They picked Ayuk, and Ayuk's better wide receiver than anybody the Chiefs have right now. I mean, I don't have a problem saying that at all. I mean, the guy had a 1,400-yard year and it is really good. But they just moved right on past it, and I kind of was thinking like, man, like I don't know if he's really like clearly like the second best wide receiver in the game on both teams. Bo, I mean, what do you think?
Dude, this reminds me of like childhood. You know, you got team captains, you're picking teams, right?
Yeah.
Or picking our receivers, and you're looking over, you're like, well, if I pick him, they're picking the other guy, right? So it's just like it's
Right.
a crapshoot. But if I'm looking at my team and I got Patrick Mahomes, I'm honestly going Debo, and it sucks because John V nailed it, right? It's just the sample size, and that's clearly why they're doing it. He has more games, more experience under his belt. And I know what you're saying about the stats. It is right there. I mean, I'm not trying to say Rashid Rice is any worse or anything, but like if I had Patrick Mahomes throwing to Deebo Samuel, kind of old school football style, I'm taking that 100%.
You are making magic. Holy shit, dude. Like, if there's a guy out there to run around at quarterback, it's Patrick, and you've got a guy who can get open just about anywhere on the field and then make contact after the catch or take contact. I mean,
yeah, and that's why right now I would take Deebo, right? Just because Rashid Rice still just needs a year, maybe more, to like really develop that flow of the game, that feel for it to make him just as dangerous. But I can't like say like he's any worse. I mean, it's if you're not picking him, you're picking the other guy immediately. They're one and the same almost.
Scott, our entire offense is affected by the absence of Deebo Samuel. Just Deebo alone missing from the offense, it changes everything. So it's like, have you ever, look at how your team is, the dynamic of the Chiefs is not thrown off when one guy is just not on or not there. If he can't be there, you guys find a way to win because your quarterback is an elite Hall of Famer who is going to elevate anyone. He's going to make any one of us look better if he's throwing us the football.
I will say though, the Chiefs offense came to life though, and they started getting rid of the Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney touches and giving them to Rashid Rice.
I mean, you have to try something different because it was not working. So
Rice, point, you know what? Rice had the dropsies hit the first part of the season. I mean, rookie jitters, whatever you want to call it, the first 3-4 games of the year. I mean, he was having a drop every game. He had a drop every preseason game. But once he kind of got those weeded out, and that I keep saying it's addition by subtraction for the Chiefs offense. Once they got Moore and Toney out of the way, that's when the offense really started looking more like the Chiefs offense.
Yeah.
So, we're an hour and 45 minutes in here. I know it's late for our guys out here in the Eastern time zone. Is there anything you guys want to get to before we get out of here? And then we'll do some score predictions, or you just want to pick some scores now?
I mean, I'm superstitious, so I can't give you a score prediction, but I mean,
right. How about this then? How about this then? I'm making some weird.
Oh, Bo, you went on mute.
No,
you muted yourself.
Went on prop bets.
You pulled a John V.
Doing some prop bets right now. Sorry. You're not since you're superstitious, don't want to pick the score. Maybe you can help me out with some of my prop bets right now. All right. Will any quarter be scoreless? What do you guys think? Yes or no? Real quick. Let's go around the horn. Nick.
Scoreless third quarter.
So yes, one will be. Scott?
I don't think there's a scoreless quarter.
Yeah, I can't
1-1. All right, 1-2. Nick?
What was the question again?
Will any quarter be scoreless?
No.
All right. Nose have that. I'm gonna have to go with it. All right. Next one. Will either team score a touchdown on their opening drive?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the other one I had. All right. The other one I was kind of playing around with. These are some passing props. Will Brock Purdy?
Bo, before what are the odds on that? I mean, is there what would be the favorite that teams do or don't score on their?
So any quarter to be scoreless was plus 360 for a yes and minus 500 for a no, and that was Nose took that one, right?
That's interesting.
What was the other one? Either team to score a touchdown on their opening drive. Yes got the plus 116 and no got the minus 142. Then the passing prop here was, will Patrick Mahomes throw a first quarter touchdown or will Brock Purdy throw a first quarter touchdown?
What about both?
First quarter touchdown passes?
These are both individuals. I don't see a both one.
I think I'd stay away from that one. I don't know. That's a
more interesting one, right?
I definitely
plus touchdown.
I definitely think Mahomes over Purdy, just because I feel like the Chiefs want Mahomes to get that first touchdown. Yeah. I feel like the 49ers want McCaffrey to get that first touchdown.
You understand we're going to try not to let that happen, though, right? I mean, they're just getting what they want. Like we're applying some defense here. I mean, you just act like, well, he decided it is what it is. Like, I mean, the game still has yet to be played. You understand that? Like,
So is it you have to bet on one or the other, or is it you bet that one of them
The other
will?
team's got to stop it.
It's two different bets, right? Will Brock Purdy
Oh.
throw a first quarter touchdown, plus or minus yes and no?
Look, the
Will
Chiefs
Mahomes
do well on scripted the scripted plays, and they've been scoring in the first half, right? Is where they've been making their hay while the sun shines in the first half, and then they've been playing like a war of attrition in the second half, right? And then also it kind of seems like if the Chiefs defense is going to get got, it's going to be on one of those first couple of possessions, and that's when they really tighten up. So I don't know, man. Those are kind of attractive to me. But yeah, I would say I would pick Patrick getting a passing touchdown over Brock.
Ooh, all right.
I
Guys
wouldn't
like,
bet
no,
on
don't
that.
do it. Don't throw your
That's
money
getting too
away.
obscure into this weird, like, that's a bet. That's a bet that the house puts out there to make a lot of money on, is what.
Yeah, these are
I
these
mean,
are
there's
fun
money
though.
to be made. There's money to be made. I mean, Brock is number 1 in red zone touchdowns.
Right.
So I just don't know that Brock gets the touchdown pass. You see, I can see McCaffrey running it in.
Right.
You just criticized me for saying that same fucking thing.
What? What? Nick,
Oh,
I'm-
that
Nick,
was
Nick,
when Tom
Nick,
Brady
you're over here
I was like,
saying that
Mahomes-
Ayuk's not a good
like-
receiver.
I was like, I
McCaffrey's
feel
not a
like
good
Mahomes
running back.
likes
I
to
mean,
get
what the
the
hell are you
touchdown
talking
pass
about?
first, and then the 49ers like to get McCaffrey that first. And then you're like, we're gonna try to stop that. And then you're like, well, you know what? I think they like to get McCaffrey the touchdown first.
I don't know that you see Patrick's going to get 30. He's going to try to chew up at least 30-yard chunks
Right.
at a time.
Do they?
I would caution against that.
Do they?
I would.
I got
try
a fan
not
of
to
John
go-
Clifford. Me and John Clifford see eye to eye.
John C. Do they have a? I'm sure this is a prop bet. Do we think either defense scores a touchdown in this game?
Ooh.
No.
I mean, how often does Patrick throw to linebackers?
Not very often.
How many picks does he have this year?
He had a few.
Yeah, he's
12?
14.
Yeah, 12 or 14, but like half of those were tipped passes up into the air that got intercepted. Where guys dropped.
I think
the
like at the
ball.
start of the season.
He's gone like 6 straight playoff games without throwing a pick, which
Without
nobody's ever
having any
done.
kind of turnover at all. But yeah, that includes
Yeah.
picks, obviously.
Our defense did score in the Super Bowl last year.
Right.
Should have scored twice. They called that one
They took
touchdown
one away
back
from
on
Nick
the
Bolton. Yeah.
on the Miles Sanders fumble where the guy caught the ball, turned and started to go upfield, and they said they didn't make a football move or have possession of the ball, of the fucking ball, which was one
I
of the
remember
biggest
that.
crocks of
I
shit
remember
I ever
that.
saw in my entire life. Like,
You know, what?
Started
I'm gonna
making
go
wonder.
no. I'm gonna go no because I just don't. These teams, both these teams, don't really make those type of mistakes.
yeah,
Interesting. All right, last one here. Where is it? Number of plays on the first touchdown drive, regardless of team. The over under is 8.5.
people actually bet on that. Bet
I'm betting
that
on it
shit.
right now, dude. This is my FanDuel account.
Look,
right
this is
now.
my whole
You're-
paycheck, bro.
You need to get help, man. If you're betting on how many
This is how-
plays is the
this is how I pay
touchdown
rent,
drive,
Scott.
man.
Under.
This is
I mean,
how I pay rent.
dude.
I take polls online.
We both
I
given
mean,
both
I
teams
I
have
might bet
given
on
them
if
up.
the defense is going to score a touchdown, or I might bet on like is
Yeah, but
Patrick
that's like-
Mahomes have more or less than 2 touchdown passes, but
You bet 100
How
on
many
that,
plays
you get
is the
$10,
first
right? You bet
touchdown
100 on
drive, bro?
this,
That
you get
is
20,000, right? You get it right.
That's
do
like
it.
a degenerate bet right there.
All right,
Now
so
that
here's
is-
what's going to happen: the Niners are going to win the coin toss, and they're going to defer. The Chiefs are going to get the ball. Patrick Mahomes is going to go down, and on an 8-play drive, he's going to
Right.
get a passing touchdown in the first
So you're
quarter.
taking the under 8.5
Yeah.
plays on the first.
And it all lines
touchdown
up with
drive.
my other stuff that I said.
I'm saying
man.
all set up.
Parlay it. You guys heard it here first.
I'm saying all set up like Nick said originally, but first play goes to Pacheco for a 3-yard gain, and then they do a play action pass to MVS for 70 yards.
There you go.
Oh,
Do you,
I'll take it. Let's
I'll
go.
take that. You know what that bet
Rolling
reminds me of?
John.
Did you ever watch that movie Vegas Vacation where they run out of money and so Cousin Eddie takes them to the seedy ass gambling places, the casinos, and they're betting on like guess the number.
Oh,
and all
you
this other
just
shit.
missed it. You want to try again?
That's what I was thinking of when you just read
Oh.
that prop cut out. I was thinking that sounds like we're there like in the unlicensed casinos in Vegas Vacation.
The dealers like
betting on
laughing
paper,
at
rock,
him.
Scissors. Get some 1-800-bets off, Bo. There's a
Hey,
Bo, do you have any?
Bo,
Well, I
does
see
Taylor
John
Swift
C's
hunt
question
first
here. Do they have any
after
prop
a
bets on Taylor
touchdown?
Swift?
Who does Taylor Swift hunt
Oh,
first
you know
after
what?
a touchdown? Brittany Mahomes or Blake Lively?
no, I don't know.
Over under on how many times Taylor Swift gets shown during the broadcast.
Oh, I guarantee you can bet on that.
No, I don't. I mean, this is FanDuel. I don't see that.
No, I mean somewhere you can bet on it. I
Somewhere
guarantee.
that's got. I'm sure
Somewhere
in
in Vegas, that is a bet.
John V, you got to let us know when you get there. Go to the sports book and let us know what the odds are, and I'll send
You
you.
can-
I'll Venmo you $100, my man.
I
You can
knew
bet on-
I will. That's the first thing I was curious about. You know damn well I'm gonna go check.
You can bet on the coin flip too, can't you? In the Super Bowl. every
Oh,
year?
yeah.
Dude. So everything that they just laid out on that first drive, you could probably bet in Vegas. And if you were to hit what these guys said, it's probably like
Yeah.
hundreds
Just
of
remember, it's not
thousands.
true, man. Tails sometimes fails.
Yeah.
Nick's also the
All right.
guy that walks up to the craps table and goes, "They can also hit 7 right now, right?" And you're like, yes, but come on, man. What are you doing?
We
All right,
were in
well, we-
Vegas, and I was like sitting there. I was like, man, statistically, it seems like a 7 should come up. You know, like a 7 came up, and Bo was just like,
7 out.
"Dude, you
Put
get
mine
out of
away.
here right now."
Take your money.
Yeah.
It's like,
I was trying to help you, man.
Go get some pizza.
Yeah. I can't remember her name, but stay away from the blackjack tables at New York, New York.
I love that.
Not good.
place, dude.
Not
I
good.
love it. I love it.
You guys want to give some final thoughts before we get out of here? Since we're not doing score predictions tonight, maybe me and Nick and Bo will come back and do another show later this week where we do some score predictions because we
We'll-
like
we'll
to do
leave
that
them
thing
in the
around
co-
here. But
We'll leave
we're
it in
not
the
going to bash
comments.
on John and all do score predictions when he's not going to do one. So we'll let our guests go first here. Nico, final thoughts, man, on the Super Bowl coming up.
Well, just say congratulations to the Chiefs Kingdom Live over here, and also congratulations to my sidekick John for having both their teams in the Super Bowl once again. Hope it's a good game. I will be loosely watching because I'll be working that day, but we're gonna see you next year.
John will be tightly watching.
We might see
while you
we
are
might see the
watching.
49ers in the Super Bowl, and we're definitely gonna see the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Let's go. I'm
There's
good with
no
that.
way we can get. There's no way that injury bug can hit us that bad again.
Right.
I mean,
I hope so. I'll be looking forward to it, man. John V, what are your
Watson
final
can
thoughts,
just
buddy?
suck. You know, it's got it's we're 5 days out, and I mean, neither one of us knows exactly what's going to happen. I mean, this game could just be.
Oh, dude, they
I got
didn't
a
give you the
good
script?
idea.
They didn't send you a script, John?
They didn't send me a script.
Oh,
No,
dude, I
no.
have it somewhere. I'll read the last couple chapters.
I think last year, it was scripted that the Disney character in Brock Purdy would win the Super Bowl, but he ended up with his UCL hanging like a bread tie, so that was over and done with. Look, man, I just think that the Niners have to play almost perfect ball. It's got to play almost perfect sound ball.
Yeah.
You really got to figure out Spags. You can't let the disguises mess you up, because that's where Spags makes his money. That's why he's elite. Nobody can disguise zone and man in the same better than him. He's good at it. He's been doing it for a long time. And for all those 49er fans that wonder why Spags is not a head coach, the guy is 150 years old in football years.
Yeah.
And he's making a fuck ton of money doing what he's doing now, and he doesn't have to be a head coach because he's still winning Super Bowls. So it's like he's comfortable. So look, I just think we've got to figure out Spags. If the Niners can play sound football, disciplined football, and if you guys can continue to get all those you're the most penalized offensive line in football. So if you guys keep that up, please, I'd appreciate that. Just keep on doing all those.
Trying to make that happen.
Nick Bowden trying to speak it into existence, talking about Chiefs holding all the time.
You know what? I get the idea. I know what they're trying to do.
I know what they were trying to
We
do.
all see it. We all see
In
it.
the first game of the season, talk about Jawan Taylor, and they're like, dude, they threw like 700 penalties against Jawan Taylor after that happened.
For the same thing that Lane Johnson does every play on the damn Eagles and never gets called for it ever.
Just honestly, in my opinion, though, that shit, like, you just want to, look, I remember holding a grudge about holds that weren't called. But when you go back and you look at the holds that aren't called on your team, it's really easy to be the guy that points out all the holds that you see from the opponent. But when you start watching it back and you start to see the things that you get away with, you understand that they're letting you play some ball.
Yeah.
Unless your team has Myles Garrett on it, and teams are literally grabbing his face mask and wrenching his helmet back in front of the referees. There's a difference between holding and there's a difference between trying to literally hurt a guy.
We just got to make plays. Come on, fellas. We know that this Super Bowl is won by the team that makes the most plays. Period.
And the fewest mistakes.
And the fewest mistakes. I need to rely on just about we have to play almost perfect football, sound football. Not perfect, but we need to be sound.
We're all
Tony
Jeremy.
Tony is
All
now
wondering.
a monk. He's a monk. He took an oath of silence. That's it. He's a monk. What else do you want me to say? He's a monk.
Yeah, they make you do
Yeah,
that
they're
after your
good for
team loses to the Chiefs for the third time. And
How
Yeah.
so someone brought Tony up real quick. How crushed was Tony after that Bills Chiefs game? I mean,
I spent the last 5 minutes of that game on the phone with Tony.
oh no,
And I can tell you that his emotions were everywhere.
Was it
He
like
was
this guy right
cussing.
here?
Was
The whole thing, but
God, that was like the most cringe post-game interview I've seen that I can remember. Josh Allen looked so uncomfortable and embarrassed and just downtrodden, and I mean, he could just not wait to get out of there. You could tell, man.
I don't want to be them, Scott. I don't want to be the Buffalo Bills.
No.
I don't want to be the team that constantly loses, Now they lose in some stupid shit. They just do some stupid shit.
Right.
But I just, nobody wants to lose. I've lost 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime already. I've watched them go to 3 and lose 2.
Yeah,
So
we watched them lose to Tampa Bay a couple years ago in a blowout too. A bad. I mean,
that's I feel like losing. If I was going to lose, I'd rather lose like that. I'd rather get my
No.
ass kicked
I'd
all
rather
over.
have a good game.
yeah.
Getting blown out in the Super Bowls.
you're
You
getting
can't even
blown up by
talk to
Tom
your
Brady's
friends.
and-
Everybody starts blowing you up on your phone. You're like, yeah, I am watching this game too. Stop texting me right now. It's, it's a different animal.
Our Nick, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Congratulations to your team, John.
Thanks, buddy.
One of the first thoughts that I had was that you had been like on our show talking about how watching like us over the last few years have been kind of therapeutic for you and dealing with like what happened when you were, down there in Miami. And my first thought was like, well, fuck, like all that's about to go out the window for John if we beat him again.
All of a sudden, he'll start hating Mahomes.
Honestly, I was just like, dude, it's just like we're still gonna be friends with him, but he's not gonna be as cool with wanting to watch Chiefs Kingdom live if we win.
It took me almost 2 years to look Scott right in the face on screen.
Right.
So
You see me right
another
now,
thing,
I'm
another
cussing him
final
out.
thought was me and Scott were looking at the Chiefs' opponents next year. I don't know if you noticed this, John, but they released this weeks back. It's kind of weird that we were playing the 49ers because we don't play your division. And typically what they do is they take like the seedings, right? So like last year it was our 17th game was the Eagles because we were both the 1 seed and we're the 3 seed and you're the 1 seed and we're playing you guys next year. So I'll be anxious.
That's
any
in
NFL script.
San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
In San Fran.
Wait, they're not doing it by division anymore?
No, they
So,
do, but
they added
now
the
they have
17th game.
You play
Oh.
an extra game against an NFC, and they had been lining it up where, like, if you were the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or wherever you finished in your conference, you matched up and played that team from the other conference. But they didn't do that this year for whatever reason. So,
But look, I know we've talked about the game ad nauseum. I'm going to leave it with this. No matter who wins this game, we can all take some solace in the fact that the Raiders lost because before they ever got to play a playoff game
Raiders
in
gonna
their brand new
Raiders.
stadium, it's their Bay Area rival against their division rival. The Raiders fans walking around in Las Vegas are seeing that giant, multi-billion-dollar dome with a Chiefs helmet and a 49ers helmet on it.
the sphere.
So we can all find some solace in the fact that, fuck the Raiders. We're having a Super Bowl. We're throwing a party in their city that they don't get to be part of. So,
Well
Yeah.
said.
Bo, final thoughts.
Gentlemen, it's been an awesome show. Thank you guys for coming on Chiefs Kingdom Live. We really appreciate having you all. It's been too much
Pleasure.
fun. Everybody in the chat, you guys have been too awesome. John C., the tickets did not drop enough for me to buy Super Bowl tickets this year, although I have had 4 beers and I'm probably drunk enough to buy them, but it's not going to happen this year. But since I am still in a betting mood, John V., what's up with these hot wings, my man? Double or nothing?
Yeah.
Nick's
there we
Nick's
go.
got
I
the
don't
new
give a
sauce.
shit.
He's got the
I don't
Apollo
give a shit
sauce.
who wins. So
No, not you, Nick. I get it. I get you, Nick. You don't have to take this. This is strictly for John V. Double or
I got the
nothing.
Pepper X, man. I got the
We got
Pepper
the
X
Pepper
sauce.
X sauce. The new.
I'll do
I'm
it.
out.
I'll do it. I'll
John's
do
in.
it.
I'm in.
I mean,
I'll-
somebody's
I'll-
got to do it. I mean, these things are good. I mean,
have you ever watched that like podcast where they eat wings and interview people?
Yeah.
Mhm.
hot-
Oh, yeah.
There's one called The Bomb that
Right.
everyone seems to lose it over.
Right.
All right, I'll
Pepper
do.
X one's
So I
the
have the
new
Pepper
one.
X. I've already tried it, but the bomb is the one that like lights everybody up. If we lose, I'll get a bottle of the bomb Beyond Insanity, and
Nick's crazy. He already
Choose it.
has the Pepper
Yeah.
X already. So, all right. Well, that's good to know.
My
Bet
name-
it, sir.
Nick-
Double or nothing.
Nick will see the label and pass out.
Right.
Yeah.
it keeps
No, other
getting
than
worse.
that- Other than that, just hoping for a great game. Like I said earlier, I mean, no animosity towards these guys whatsoever. Just looking
No,
for
man. I
no,
mean,
like I want to see, like I said, I'd rather see a really closely matched game versus a blowout on either end. Just hoping for 2 teams to go out there and give it their all, man. So good luck, sir, and handshake.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, bro. I mean, listen, I wanted this. Scott and I have wanted this for a long time. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah,
wanted
we've been
this. I
talking
want my
about it.
get back. I want my get back. Scott loves to harass me. It is what it is. It's been fun, man. I love you guys. Win, lose, I don't care. That doesn't change shit for me. I'll be pissed, but I mean, again, all I could ask for is an opportunity to compete. That's a blessing in itself. when you can be one of the two teams at the end of it all competing for the best trophy, right? This chat, you guys are awesome. I love you guys. I've been rocking with you guys for a minute. It's all fun. Absolutely want to win, but I'm never going to hold a grudge, fam. Never. I'll never hold a grudge like that. But yeah, man. I mean, Scott, I mean, this is it, bro. Like, we really got it. We got it. I mean, we get it quicker than we thought. Like,
We've been waiting on you for 3 damn years. I don't know what took you guys. So
I mean, we tried last year, but
They've been going to Super Bowl just waiting. You're like, oh,
I know.
The invitation's been out every year. We send the invites. You guys never come.
I mean, we had to play the Buccaneers and the Eagles while we were waiting on you to make it back, but you finally made it back. My final thoughts are it's a lot of fun, and I was just thinking back to when Nick invited me on Shank Club to debate Kelsey Kittle, and that whole thing turned into that show, and me and John V and Nick and Dion and Carl. And just like what's evolved into now with you guys having your locker room rant and us having this Chiefs Kingdom Live. And when I was on with Breezy,
man,
it's just really cool. And it's a lot of fun. We made some good friends along the way. Chiefs play at the Browns next year, and I can guarantee you I will be at that game. So
we're at that game. You give me a call. We'll meet up. I'll take you down to the hot dog shop, Warren Hot Dog Shop.
Are you guys really coming to Cleveland?
Yep. Chiefs at Browns next year.
That might have that's a get-together game, man.
That's a get-together.
That's going to be December 18th during the next Arctic blast or whatever.
Please do not be.
Can't be any worse than the Dolphins game.
I'm really hoping for that. And the Chiefs also play at the Panthers, and so I need to get out there and meet our man JT, which I didn't see him in the chat tonight. I don't know where our guy JT's at, but. No, yeah, I've just been waiting for this rematch, and it's just been fun. I mean, getting to know you guys and becoming friends and doing these shows and stuff is something I never really thought I would be doing, but it's going good, man. And you guys, I know you haven't been able to do the show for a few weeks now here with Tony being kind of, got the family thing going on and work schedule or whatever, but I look forward to you guys getting back on the show on Tuesdays. Makes my week a lot more entertaining. I can't thank you enough for making the time to come on. We've got Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl this Sunday.
Let's go!
Let's go, baby. I cannot believe this.
Rematch, bro, in Las Vegas. And I'm jealous as hell that John V is going to freaking be there, and I'm not. But
dude, I mean, listen, when my wife decided we're going to do this, she found great tickets through Spirit,
They actually got a really good deal.
God willing, it gets there. And then we just got great price on rooms, man. We really, really, really got a killer deal. They're out there. I know it sounds almost impossible, but they are, man. Yeah, Lainey. I mean, that's so funny that she knows that story, man. That's a story. That's a story
Lainey,
there.
Man, she was an avid Shank Club viewer.
And locker room
around. She's been around since the beginning, but
one of the OGs on the locker room rant.
Oh yeah, for sure. So look forward to you guys getting your show going back here sometime and getting
me too,
watch
man.
you guys
Me
on
too.
Tuesdays. Make sure you tell Tony I said hello and
I will.
send him our best wishes, man, and hope all is good with him. He's another great dude, and always enjoyed talking Chiefs with him and the whole playoff run last year and the bet we did and the playoff preview shows that we did and doing the gritty and all that shit on your guys' show. That was a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed it. So thanks again a million for coming on and joining us. Really looking forward to the game. We will have to do like a recap game or something. I know everybody's saying I'm just hoping for a good game and good luck. I hope the Chiefs kick some ass on Sunday. So
My heart would love a blowout. I'm sorry, John.
I mean, listen, nothing would make me happier than to score once, take away, score again.
And you know what? Win or lose, like you said, there won't be grudges. We'll still be friends. I'll be happy for you, but that'll take a while for being happy.
I
for
agree.
me, like, to happen. Man, that's gonna
I
be
There's
like,
gonna be a lot of shit talking.
that's gonna be like
show if you guys
probably.
win.
That's probably gonna be like August or September before that happens for me.
I'm thinking of like my first handshake with Scott. I probably won't see him till December 18th.
Right, exactly. So
I'll come out of my shell.
yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun. We're gonna let you guys get out of here and get to bed. I know it's late for you. Thanks again for everybody who watched. Make sure you click like and subscribe. Make sure if you're not over at the Locker Room Rant and following John over at Vernus on X and his social media stuff, you're over there giving them a like, giving them a subscription, giving them a follow. We sure appreciate it. Until next time, we'll be breaking down and talking about Super Bowl 58 in the books. The Chiefs will get number 4 or the 49ers will get number 6. We'll talk to y'all then. Let's go Chiefs.
Go
Go Niners. Later, fam.
He is a good running back.
Later.